Yeah. Big O, we told you we ain't playing no games, man. It's just surely probably Pablo, Culture, Lord Productions.
Good morning, South Florida.
This is the Big O Show.
You're tuned into the Big O Show.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. Judge, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio show with Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams, from the Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Friday Pablo in the Big O Show. Oh, on the radio, the top's where we gonna go. Andy, that's the way we roll. Locked on the morning show, Big O. No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk live and direct. Because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise to survive, it's the best of the best. He's got the fans, got the heat, he's the best of the best. Big O, the only talking sports with a style. Break it a morning, it's Big O-N. Thank you for tuning in, keeping you glued in. Stay tuned, because right here's where the rumors in. Same place, because right here some of them begin. Simply call and just state your opinion. Real talk, sports talks, the Big O Show. Yeah, you love it, yeah, you like it, call him and let him know. Coach and Probably Pablo, now introducing the man of the hour, Big O, a.k.a. Orlando also Gary. Yeah.
See, there we go. 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 It's a beautiful thing. We are on. Good morning. Hello, hello, one and all. Hope you all are doing well out there after another weekend. I don't know if you call it a great weekend, a bad weekend, a good weekend. I guess if you ended up without COVID for the weekend, then I guess it's a good weekend, right? I mean, that's kind of the only way I can measure it. I guess nowadays, but lot of things to talk about. You know, I almost say that every day in passing, and I do end up finding a lot of things to talk about every single day here on the show, which is really weird that we're able to do it, you know. And now that we've got sports going on, well, sort of, it looks like it. We've got way more subjects now to talk about. There's a lot of great things to talk about. Some stuff that's sad, I would imagine, and frustrating, especially for those of us that are football fans. It looks like college football, and not a surprise on this show. If you've been listening to this show for a while, I really didn't expect college football to happen. You know what I mean? Then the Gregory Rousseau decision becomes no decision. Really. Think about it. Now, for those of you out there that were butthurt about Gregory Rousseau and you were thinking, oh, man, this sucks, and, you know, he should be about the you and all that, and he was about him, you, him, not you or the you. He was about him, you know, you, Gregory. That's what he was about. And in the end, we're not going to have a college football season. So Gregory Rousseau, you know, I don't know what happens with De'Aaron King. You know what I mean? This year, I've been telling you guys this for several months now that I gave the NFL some hope because the NFL has pros. I told you, right? I told you they've got wives and girlfriends, 8 houses, 8 cars. They've got stuff to pay for. And so in order for them to pay for all that stuff, they got to earn some money. So I could see where the greed of the NFL will drive them. The virus will drive them to stop the game because they're going to get – there's no way to keep everybody clean. It's just impossible. It really is. And so now we see the decision coming from the MAC, which now is igniting the conference, the commissioners from the Power 5 schools to meet. And there's already talk that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are ready to go ahead and cancel the seasons. And now they're kind of meeting so they all do it at the same time. They do it, in a uniform fashion. This way, the last conference to bail out, which we all know would be the SEC. Come on. Who are we kidding here? Who makes the most money? The SEC. Who has the most to lose? The SEC. Who's closer to the NFL? The SEC. The SEC would be the last conference because they're so greedy also that they will hold on to the last moment. And it's like we live in this, not we, because I don't live in that fantasy, but it's like they live in a fantasy. And they think the virus is going to go away. Like like our president, oh, it'll go away. It's not going away, dude. And the way we act, you're at Sturgis in South Dakota, and the place is packed, dude. I was watching the videos over the weekend. I'm dying to go there, by the way. I was going to call you, Bill. I was like, dude, these videos you got to see the videos at Sturgis. It's just awesome. But it sucks, right? I wouldn't go now. And by the way, 99.999% of them were not wearing masks. Okay? I mean, it would be rare that you would find a mask. And I just saw in California, in Southern California specifically, they're having problems with parties all over the place. There was one that was filmed this weekend where it was just a house party that were, over 100 people there. And nobody was social distancing. Nobody had a mask, and they were all and that's what's going on now. Parties behind the scenes at homes, and they're meeting, and they're not masking. And so I told you guys this before. The nutbags that don't want to wear masks, that fight about wearing masks, that want businesses open, are the ones that are closing the businesses, are the ones that are closing down football, are the ones that are limiting sports to us. I mean, that's because we have not handled this the right way. We've been an absolute disaster in handling this whole thing. There's been 19 million cases. We have 5 million of the 19. We have 25% of the cases in the world. Okay? So if you think our leadership's doing the right thing, you are wrong. And you keep listening to these clowns, oh, we're testing. You're not testing enough. And the funny part is all these tests that they've done for months now are useless. Because you can't track and trace something that's 7 to 10 days old. You're way behind by that point. Now they started to add, and it's only like 1,500 tests a day. The ones that you get the answer in 15 minutes. That's what we should have had from the get-go. So you could actually properly trace what's going on in live time. Not 7 to 10 days later, you're able to log in those things. That's crazy. And that's irresponsible. And that's been our governors and our president. Everybody's mishandled this. So that's the problem, that we don't take this thing seriously. And football's number one. They are the worst sport for this, and they're the ones that have been living this lie the entire time. How come I can tell you a couple – do we have the cut from a couple months ago? A couple months ago, here's what we told you about what would happen in college football and who would be deciding all this stuff. Go ahead. What's going to end up taking over, ladies and gentlemen, are not athletic directors and head coaches anymore. It's going to be college presidents, board of directors. These are the people that are going to step in now because it becomes a medical issue now. It becomes a thing where you have people, young people at risk, and you're not paying them. And in the end, look, at the pace we're at, I get what they're trying to do with schools, with regular schools, and getting the kids back because parents, you know, they can't send their some parents have to send their kids because they cannot afford, you know, daycare. They can't afford to pay somebody. Hell, a lot of those parents may not even be working. And if they are, they might be even limited and they have less money coming in. We all have less money coming in. Come on. So it's to me, it just looks like a situation where it's getting more realistic for football where they stand. And since you can't bubble the sport, you can't bubble the NFL. Forget about college. Can you imagine that? There's no way. You would have to take up an entire state. Like, hey, North Dakota, we'd like to kick your residents out, and we'd like to put 100 college football teams. They're all in a bubble. That kind of stuff. There's no way of doing it. You can't do it. Seriously. So it gets to a point now where you see the negative progress that we're making. And by the way, if you love football and you weren't wearing a mask and you're spreading COVID and all that, you could just thank yourself, give you guys the freedoms back again to go get work and go back out, but let's do it responsibly. And everybody just said, hey, let's go to the Ozarks and party. And then this is where we're at. It's really hard to blame the politicians mostly for what's going on now. It's really mostly our fault that we chose not to wear a mask. We chose to spread it. We chose to protest without a mask. We chose to go support a candidate without a mask. We chose to bum rush Costco without a mask. It's really our fault. So when football doesn't return, you can stand there and look in the mirror and go, it's our fault. That was almost 2 months ago that we told you this, and how long ago was it?
Ironically, 1 month to the day, July 10th, segment 2.
There you go. July 10th. And to me, it was obvious where football was headed. It just makes, ladies and gentlemen, we're running into lawsuits now. Okay? Heather, what's it called? Heather Dinich, who does an excellent job for ESPN covering college football. She was on ESPN yesterday. And here's one of the things that I was leading into why I told you that forget the coaches, because you heard coaches run their mouth about playing, and I'll get to the players soon enough. Those silly fools think that they've got anything to say in all of this. It's just the naivete that goes on with all of this. It's the real issues are happening right now in college football. Go ahead.
It was a combination of factors. I mean, you have the MAC decision. That was extremely important because it was the first FBS conference to postpone fall sports. But there's also been a lot of outspoken players from the Pac-12, from the Big Ten, from the Mountain West Conference who have spoken up about concerns about playing during COVID-19. But I think a real big driving force in the quick turn of conversation has been a significant concern from the medical advisory committees from each of these conferences about the unknowns of the lasting impacts of heart effects from the coronavirus. There are a lot of unknowns, and you heard MAC Commissioner John Steinbrecher talk about that when he talked about their reasons for postponing fall sports. So that's a big question mark right now.
Lawsuits. They don't want lawsuits. And that's what's going to come out of this. Because they're going to blame the administration and the coaches and the school for not creating a safe environment. And guess what? It's a freaking pandemic. There's no such thing as a safe environment. Unless you live in a bubble. Okay? That's the only way you're going to be safe. That everything you touch and everything given to you has already been sterilized. And you live in a bubble and you can't go anywhere. That's the only way. But every time we go to a restaurant to pick up our food, we go to the supermarket to buy something. I was Saturday in Publix, masked up as always, go in, go out, try to stay away from people as much as possible. Don't touch anything. A door, I grab it with the bottom of my shirt, whatever. I try to stay away, and it's still hard to do, okay? So far, I've been lucky, knock on wood, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to stay away from it. Eventually, I'm probably going to catch it one day. I hope not, because I have no idea what it's going to do to a guy like me with 5 stents in my heart. You know what I mean? So those are things that you get nervous about, but you have to understand where we're at. And football, they're the ones that had more time than everybody else, and now is when they're deciding this. That's the part that it just shows you how much greed has driven these people, right? Because the NFL is going to hold out. They're going to hold out because they got a collective bargaining agreement in place. They can't get sued by the players, They're covered. So they're going to try, and then players are going to try because they got to earn money. Just like me and Bill. We're both highly risk people in this pandemic. Okay? He's got asthma. He's got white cell issues. I've got my heart issues. But we have to work in order to survive and help our families and all that, right? So we have no choice, just like pro football players. But on college, it's a whole different ballgame. You're in charge of a student body and the athletes. And we have to look at it for what it is. Everybody's at risk. Did you see, remember we talked about it last week, the Georgia girl that posted the picture of the high school? Well, she got suspended, right? They rescinded the suspension. 9 people are now affected by corona, 6 students, and 3 administrators/teachers. They didn't tell us exactly what kind of employees, but those are the real people at risk. And all those kids were stuffed in the halls, and all those kids did not have any masks on. What do you think is going to happen?
Let me tie a couple bows on things we've talked about. The heart situation and it being long-term. Go back to July 30th, segment 8. We talked about the long-term effects because they had done research.
Right.
Okay. The spreading, the biggest spread, go back to July 13th, segment 3, the woman in China that spread it to 70 people.
Yeah.
And, okay, the closer we get to football, the more it looks like it won't happen. We did that back on July 13th, segment 1.
Right. And then you got, look, like here's a text I see, Julio Alonso, 0.05% death rate, and this needs to stop. What does that mean, Alonso, that it's not a high enough percentage of death for you, so you don't want to react? The people that put the 0.05%, either you're really ignorant, okay? Either you're really ignorant or you don't give a shit about life. You don't care people are dying. And this is contagious. And we're quarantining. We're trying to keep distance and people are dying. Julio Alonso, what do you think would happen if nobody would wear masks? Nobody would actually maintain any kind of distance. Do you think it would still be 0.05? The death rate continued, and we stayed in our houses for 2 months. It went down, but now the second that we've opened, it's gone up. How much worse do you think if people like me weren't around that were responsible, or like Bill, that were constantly washing our hands and putting our masks on, and it's still contagious? I got in the car today to get breakfast, and I turned Joe Rose on, and he had a college player. I think he's a host. I think he's a host in Jacksonville, I want to say. And this guy, I mean, he was saying some asinine stuff on the air about, these guys need to play and they need this environment and this is good for them not to be away from their teams and to be at home because they could catch COVID anyway. Yeah, but the idea is that they're not spreading it, moron. And the school cannot be the enabler of the spread. See, there's way too much freaking ignorance going on in this country. And that's why we're in this shithole. And that's why we continue to be in this shithole. Because you got people like Julio Alonso that puts a number on deaths because he doesn't care. One guy goes to me, it's old people. And I go, dude, so what? They don't count as human beings? That was somebody's grandmother that could have lived another year or 3 or 5, and now she's not there anymore? That's somebody's father or grandfather that could have been living longer, but COVID put him out? The guy had no response for me, and I go, of course, because when you put a number on the percentage, and I love when people, people die of cancer. Well, cancer isn't contagious. Asswipe.
Most of the time you make choices that cause cancer.
Right.
Most of the time.
Right. This, you may not want it. In fact, I'm sure you don't want it, but you may end up with it. because it's freaking contagious. That's what's going on here, and that's why the MAC did the responsible thing. Well, first of all, it took the Ivy League, which is obviously the smart, and so are we as administrators and coaches and teachers and everybody else. We're not messing around with this, okay? Our players aren't here to play games. Agreed and said, you know, we're going to hang in there, we're going to hang in there, we're going to hang in there because if we don't have football, we can't sustain our entire athletic program. But we have to make choices here. It's either life or death. And in part of life, there's going to be a bunch of sacrifices for all of us. Unfortunately, jobs, careers, businesses, economy, those are the sacrifices that are going to happen. But it's better than death. And like the Julio Alonsos of the world, he doesn't care if he gets COVID and gives it to somebody else, he doesn't care. Because people like that don't care. They just put a number on it. That's it. Look, he put another. The average age is 80. You see, now he has stupid information. In fact, where's Julio Alonso here? Let's hide user on channel. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we got Julio Alonso removed. Okay.
You know what's simulated to that commercial? Remember? X number of people die on a bike,
Right.
And then it's, what's acceptable? 50. Right. And then 50 of his family and friends come out, and it's like, no, it's not acceptable.
Right.
It's perfect simulation.
There you go. See, now Julio Alonso, now his text won't be able to be seen on the chat board anymore. So, Julio, just so you'll know, you can text all you want. Nobody's going to see him anymore because I blocked you out already. You know, we're not going to tolerate stupidity, and we're not going to tolerate a troll that's going to be doing it every 5 seconds. We'll put your ass out. I have no problem with that, dude. None. I think everybody that's been on this board knows already. We don't tolerate this crap. But that's our problem there. The ignorance that's in this country are changing. The way things are done are changing. People are changing their careers. And they're finding a way to adapt to this that's going on. You know, because jobs are being created because we will adapt. You know what I'm saying? It'll be painful for a lot of us. It'll be really tough for a lot of us, but we're going to adjust to all of this. But it's football finally figuring out, wow, you know what? We can't play in a pandemic. No shit. All right, let's take a break real quick here, and we'll come back on the other side. Don't forget Toyota of Hollywood, a proud sponsor of our program. 1841 North State Road 7. Go see Steve Ostrov and Herbie Lopez, all the great people out there. I promise you, they will take care of you, baby, at Toyota of Hollywood.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021. At Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, Southside.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we back. Oh, Kenneth Cleveland is the first with a super chat. He says, happy Monday, Big O. Kenneth Cleveland is live from the 305. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go back to my room so we can do it all night, and you can make me feel right. Oh. All right, so you got that.
Well, you can't go pick up somebody. It's got to be somebody you've been quarantined with now.
Well,
to be safe.
Speaking of the super chats, as you all know, we fire off the something that the Panthers rarely do. But we added a bunch of stuff to the back. All right, so let's walk you through it. We fixed the hat, so Bob Ross there I added the paintbrush. Okay, so
Bob came with accessories.
Oh, dude, it has everything.
Did it come with a bottle of Valiums?
No, dude, it has everything.
Oh, it does. It has Valiums.
I just couldn't put everything in there.
Oh, it has a bottle of Valiums.
Pat in Asheville gave us that. So Pat, as you notice, he's got a brush now, but I don't want the bastard to paint up the damn Eiffel Tower. Okay, now leave the Eiffel Tower alone. So Pat,
he'll make it one big tree.
Talk to Bob Ross. Make sure he doesn't do that. All right. We added a Hurricanes can there with the multiple championships. Is a classic can.
That year, I went to the Connecticut game at Miami Arena, the old Miami Arena, just because that was the first time they were handing out that can. And at halftime, we started.
Speaking of the old Miami Arena,
wow,
we added a rat that we have.
Nice.
Year of the Rat. We moved Darth Vader up top next to the Heat 2006 championship trophy. See it back there? There. We added a Jeff Conine Jack in the Box. Okay. We added Dan Marino. He's hiding behind the Eiffel Tower. You see how he's sneaking out? He's rolling out past a right tackle to make a pass there. You see?
I was thinking Dwight Stevenson. Sorry.
No, he's off the right tackle. He's not in the middle.
Okay.
So he's rolling to the right there. On the few times that Danny rolled, he's rolling to the right. Okay. We got our Panther slid under it. Oh, and this Dolphin flag. Super Bowl 8. There you go, beating the Vikings 24-7. I think that's about it of the new stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that might be enough. Right? So, did a little rearranging this weekend and had to adjust a couple of things here and there and figured it all out, but we're going to have a lot of space, man. I'm thinking we're going to have to remove this, maybe put a smaller banner in the back, and maybe open it up a little bit more in the back. That's probably what we'll have to do now.
Got to ask a question.
That'll be the next thing.
Considering you're decorating and stuff like that, are you the one that does the Christmas tree at Christmas time?
Yes, I do, actually.
I was going to say.
Yes. The wife...
You've done a nice little job with some metrics and,
The wife helps out with the dressing kind of the tree. I do it with her. But then I take over on the bottom with the monorails and the trains and all that. That's what I end up doing. So I'm the one that puts the tracks together and all that. We haven't done that in the last couple of Christmases. So maybe
I had to ask because you know how my parents are with the every year adding 200. So they're up to like 4,000 lights. Major fire hazard, I got to say.
Yeah.
But situations such the glass ornament's got to be distant and there's a symmetrical numerical value.
Ray goes, nice old school Finns flag, nothing like the old logo. Well, you're never going to catch the new logo here. You can forget about that, dude. I'll never put on the new logo. Martha Farinas, Jay Gelfand, Chris Wellman, Finn 9113, James Roman. Let's see. Matthew Walker noticed the new Dolphin banner and throwback logo. He noticed it. Julius 305, NorCal says, what's up to Big O crew and listeners? Finn's up. Herman Cueva, good morning, mis amigos. Big O, the best of the best. Thank you, sir. Too kind. Ronald Hubbard says, good morning, everybody. Very sad news coming from college football. I totally support and understand it, but it's disappointing. Yes, it is. It's extremely disappointing, but it's common sense. Josh says, what's up, and Bill and everybody? Jesse in Minneapolis, I'm telling you, that rap intro works. Troy Ortiz. Pat in Asheville says, check the materials of your mask, people. Duke U published a study that found that fleece neck gaiters were worse than no mask because they create smaller droplets. Yes, they do create smaller droplets. You got to watch out with that stuff. I only use the ones that I use, and that's during the show. When I'm not, I got my N95. Dude, I just bought an N100 mask yesterday.
Okay, so what does it go from 2.5 down to what?
Nothing.
It's like,
this is like a badass mask. You know why I bought this mask? Because for those of you that wear masks every day, those of you that don't wear masks, you don't know what we're talking about. But when you wear the Velcro ones, right? I got one for myself.
Did it specify the size of the particle? Because that's the difference between 95 and 99. The size of the particle that can go through the filter goes down to 2.5, whatever it is.
Yeah. I could show you the mask, man. I don't care, but something tells me I will be somewhat fine with this one. What do you think? That'll be the mask I'll be wearing outside of broadcast. Okay? It's called the Trend Air Stealth Half Mask P3R. Constructed from odor-free, non-allergenic materials, including soft latex and silicone, free face seals, protects against airborne particles, mist, welds, fumes, dust, plaster, concrete, and silica dust to 99.97% efficiency at 0.3 microns and above. Okay? I have no idea, but it looks like it's an absolutely bad. It got great ratings. So I got it on Amazon just in case. It's not expensive, by the way. It's $33. It's not really an expensive mask.
What's the deal with the breathing?
It apparently,
because our 99s has that little flap, you see it open and close.
Right. It breathes excellent, apparently. And even better, a guy put on a video with the mask on talking, and it actually doesn't sound bad either. So it's like, yeah, it's a well-constructed mask, dude.
How long is it going to take to get here?
I'll get it here in a couple of days, see? It like seals.
Right.
It's like a legit seal that goes around, you know?
Yeah, because it has a lip where it comes up on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
see? So
okay, so that's what I got to get.
Right. So there you go. That's what I'm just saying. It's just, you got to take this stuff serious, man. So Pat in Asheville, thank you for looking out. And there's your Bob Ross over there. Fred Soares is in the house in Michigan. Sid is in the house. Alex Diaz says, Big O, a buddy of mine who's a diehard Heat fan, thinks that they have a shot to win. He's heard some of your takes and doesn't agree with you, which is moronic, still thinks they're going to win. Well, Alex, look, dude, he's a fan, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think he might be a little delusional. I think. Look, let me explain about the Heat, and I'm glad you asked because I was going to talk about it anyway. But they lost to the Suns on Saturday, 119-112. I think I mentioned this many, many times over. Remember, they started 24-8, Bill, right? Well, what did we tell you? They were a 500 team after that at 17-16. Tell your friend that's so convinced that they can win it all, they're 2-3 in the restart. And look, I know they didn't have Butler and Dragon yesterday, and Kendrick Nunn hasn't been playing efficiently anyway. He doesn't really shoot well. He hasn't shot well throughout this whole restart anyway. But my point is, you win games against Milwaukee and others and the Rockets without Jimmy Butler. And you know, it was your young guys against their young guys. And Phoenix ended up winning. And I know Phoenix's back is against the wall and all of that. And now they've got the Indy game tonight. And we'll see what ends up happening at 8 o'clock tonight. Because Butler's going to play. Dragon's going to play. Nunn is back with the team, but he has to be in quarantine right now. And once he's through quarantine, then he can rejoin the team, but it won't be for tonight's game. But Saturday, the Suns have been playing well, and the Heat have been up and down. And this Jimmy thing, I've talked about it throughout the year. It's hard for him to stay healthy. That body of his has a lot of miles on it. I don't know if he should be, doing that extra work in his room and bouncing the ball all over the place. He's a guy that needs to really rest his body because he has worn out his body. When you see him have to miss these games now, it's like, well, why are you doing all that extra work? You need to kind of, take care of your body. And the Heat are not consistent enough defensively. I don't know how anybody could think that they could win at all. I think they could win a round. That's about it. I don't think they're much more than that. And what's going to end up happening, Alex, is Miami will not reach your friend's expectations. And mark my words, he will then get mad at the Heat and blame the Heat because he had unrealistic expectations. So I respect that he wants, that he disagrees with me, but he's a fan. He's not thinking objectively. You know what I mean? Some of us can't think objectively. We're fans. So we're thinking with our hearts. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys that are, and women that cover, well, now you don't hear from women. They're more level-headed. But most of the guys that cover college football and they're tied to a team or whatever, they're trying to make excuses and hemming and hawing about, well, no, but this could happen, and they could do this, and they can, like the guy that was on with, they could still have a season. I'm like, no, they can't, dude. They can't have a season. You can't put kids at risk. And then they're going to sue your ass. And that's what these schools know. That's what they're terrified about. A coach is going to, you understand that if college football goes on, a coach or two is going to die. You do know that, right? I guarantee you a coach is going to die if you play the college football season. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know what head coach, what assistant head coach, what defensive coordinator, what offensive coordinator, what tight ends coach, what strengths coach. A coach will die. Now, to people like, what was the idiot's name, Alonzo or whatever that I just blocked?
That would be correct, sir.
All right, that moron, well, he's just an old guy. It's just another old guy. Now, that coach could have been coaching for another 5 or 10 years, could have been around for a lot of kids to help out and family that loved him. And the corona then killed him. Why? Because we had to have football. And it's not going to be just one. You're going to cause all kinds of other problems for other coaches and administrators and trainers and everything else. Come on, man. People are not responsible in our world. If we were responsible, then that would be fantastic. So, I can't see the Heat, to go back to your point, winning a championship or getting deep when this is a team that can't be consistent at all. And that's a problem for them. That's why I kept saying, when people kept saying, well, the Heat's the team that people, they want to fear and they're going to be in great shape and their defense is great. I'm like, what Heat team are you talking about? These are babies. They're learning how to win right now. Do you understand what stage they're in? And it's not like Jimmy is a superstar that can then say, well, kids, you're not doing well. Get on my back. I'll carry you. That's not Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's not a superstar. He's a lower-level all-star. He's a guy that can be steady. He's been a superstar for Miami because of the way he has carried himself, the way he's helped develop guys, the way he motivates them. He keeps them focused. All that stuff is priceless that Jimmy's doing. But Jimmy cannot carry a team. In other words, he can't do what Devin Booker can do. Okay? He can't do what actually I'm forgetting the kid's name now from Indiana. That him and Jimmy got into it, and he's been shooting lights out now lately. Damn it, he's always been a hell of a shooter. His problem is more about health. He never stays healthy, and now I'm brain farting.
Is it Jackson?
No, it's not Jackson. No, it's not Jackson. But damn it, I'm forgetting his damn name now. But
he let the kid get under his skin.
T.J. Warren. So T.J. Warren has been shooting lights out. Jimmy can't shoot like that. That's not in his game. So that's where I'm telling you that this is a team that I love. This Heat team. I love what they have been awesome this year. They have accomplished a ton this year. A bunch of guys have grown. I just think that I've watched too many teams in years past, even with great players, get their asses kicked, like Michael Jordan. There's a rite of passage that you've got to learn how to win in the playoffs. And right now, Bam and all these guys, this is their first step in learning how to win. Okay?
Watching a couple dribbles, passes it to Bam. Bam gets it, and he doesn't do nothing with it for 5 or 6 seconds. Then he goes to the basket, and he missed. And you could see a go-to.
There's no Dwayne Wade. There's no Timmy Hardaway. There's no alpha dog that can say, hey, guys, all right, we need a bucket. I'm going to take over, okay? We're struggling. You know how the number one ace on the team in baseball, you're struggling. Pitcher 3, 4, and 5, they get smoked. And you're like, man, we got a 3. Oh, all right, we got our ace coming up. And then that guy stops the bleeding. He comes out with a one-hitter. You win 3-0. Kind of changes your momentum because you count on that one guy. Miami doesn't have that number one guy. So that's why I would tell you, Alex, that it's nice that your friend is a fan, but he's being a fan. He's not being realistic and looking at things objectively. And that's usually what happens. Dougie Fresh says, first of all, Dougie Fresh sends in a super chat. He says, oh, great block. When you block idiots in the future, can Bill play a soundbite of Carl Lewis saying, uh-oh, from his pathetic anthem attempt? Uh-oh. All right, we should have some kind of something when we block somebody. Troy Ortiz asked me, oh, does that mask come with eyeglasses too? No, it doesn't. I
think a week or two ago that it might be a good idea to throw them on.
Yep. Big O, who do you think is the greatest sports talk show host in South? Their own right. And I would go Mandich, I would go Goldberg, and I would go Ed Kaplan. Those would be my 3 right there. Sports talk, okay? All right? We're talking about sports talk, not goofing off talk. That's a whole different genre. That's a whole different list of people. Real sports talk, something that rarely goes on nowadays, okay? That would be my 3, okay? Mandich, Goldberg, and Kaplan would be my 3 that I would, again, all 3 different styles, and all brought something different to the table and loved all 3. So those would be my guys. Let's see. You will look like Blaine from Batman. Yeah, but I'll be protected, baby. And that's all that matters. Mark McIntyre is in the house. Hank Goldberg's left nut is in the house. Jack Gonzalez is in the house. John Santos, can you please share the image of the mask, please? Did that come after, or you guys got it, right? Let me make sure let me make sure that you got it. And here you go. Just in case you're looking for it, here, take a picture of it. That way you know what it is. And if you want serious stuff and you want to protect them, bro, put that mask on.
It does come with accessories at the bottom. You can attach like knockout darts for people that don't have masks.
It actually looks good. It's not a bad looking mask. And boy, that thing's going to, if you got to clean a bunch of dust in your house, wear it. If you got to go protect yourself from a virus, wear it. That's it. Who cares? But yeah, I know I'm going to look weird, but I don't care. The good thing is Tyler Hero's getting experience with the ball. Amen to that, man of 1,005 holes. That's what it's all about, man. Your thoughts about Talon parting ways with the Panthers? You mean his ass getting fired? I'll talk about that in a second. Drew Boo is in. He goes, I always miss people getting blocked. Damn it. Kenneth Cleveland.
You don't have to miss. You could go back. It's podcast.
That's right. It's in the video.
You can wait till the end of the show. It'll be on YouTube. It's there forever captured.
Yeah, you can rewind when the show's over. Yeah. Big O, what do you think about the NFLPA and college football playing games every 2 weeks instead of every week so they can quarantine players if they get the virus? I just think it's a crazy thing because you'll get into a cycle where those 2 weeks won't be enough that others will get the virus because they partied and they did. Remember, if we're not bubbling guys and they're out on the streets and they're out in COVID parties and they're out banging IG models and they're out going to house parties, they're going to catch it, bro. They're going to catch it, and then they're going to give it to other people. That's the problem. Cliff Wellman says, look at my coach, Mac Brown at UNC. No way he should be out there. Exactly. Tremolio is in the house. Big Ten just canceled a few minutes ago. They did? I did not see that. Wow. Nice. Smart. Well, you know, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 were already rumored to be kind of on the cusp of doing it as it is. So I'm not surprised if they're the ones that came across because that was already being talked about in circles that they would be the team. I don't see it here on Pro Football Talk yet. But I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Can we say safely that this is so that they're not liable?
Yeah.
And there's no, this ends up being a money thing.
Yeah.
They're being forced because of that.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Hank Goldberg's left nut sends us in a super chat. Oh, my bad. If college football ends, NFL should try a bubble or bubbles. Then they can play Thursdays and Friday nights and Saturday and Sunday and then Monday night. Yeah, they will own the week if they can do that. But again, it's what I said. They need to do 32 bubbles. Everybody bubbles up in their city. If they do that, they got a shot at it all happening. Okay? It's noon. All right, 1 hour down. I do want to remind you that at 1:30, Chris Whittingham is going to join us, the voice of Inter Miami, because Inter Miami signed a midfielder, Blaise Matuidi, central midfielder, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Juventus star and hopefully get his thoughts on how he will impact the team. That'll be at 1:30. When we come back on the other side, let's address the reason and everything that went on with Dale Talon and how the Panthers did the right thing in firing his ass. Let's talk about that next.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com.
9,017,775. 2020 Corolla. Now 22,013,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
right, we back. All right, let's address what we have been talking about for a list team. It never shows up. This group that they put together, Barkov and Hubie, and I know Trocheck, I think, had the biggest balls out of the group, and that's the guy they end up trading. It's kind of weird like that, because to me, the guy that played with the most fire was Trocheck, and he was half the size of Hubie and Barkov. But he's the guy that he's the last guy I would have traded. Put it that way. Okay. And he would take too many shots. And I would hate the fact that they never had somebody that would, like, you took a shot at Trocheck, brother, the next go round, be on the lookout, because we got a guy coming that is going to rip your head off. And they don't have that because there's no toughness on the Panthers. And Dale Talon is a monster failure. I mean, he is one of the most pathetic sports figures we have ever had in South Florida history. This thief took money for 10 freaking years and did nothing, bro. 2 playoff trips. As I've told you before, this was not the playoffs. This was a play-in series. It's not counted as a playoff. They were a couple of games out. They wouldn't have made the playoffs anyways because they're soft. Okay? And I wish somebody would have asked Barkov, do you realize that you guys constantly look soft? You never come through. You never play big in big moments. You know, that kind of stuff. And months ago, I had this rant on this show talking about Dale Talon. Go ahead, Bill. Play that rant. Where do we have it? Do we have it there? You don't have it? All right. A couple months back, we had a rant where we talked about where Dale Talon was and what he has done. Now you got it? All right, go ahead. What's going to end up taking over, ladies and gentlemen, are not athletic directors and head coaches anymore. It's going to be college presidents, board of directors. These are the people that are going to... All right, forget about it. Bill's in like another place. He's not even listening. So, look, what went on with the Panthers and Dale Talon is failure. He failed to find guys that were special. Barkov is not special enough to be your number one guy. Hubie and Ekblad are all high picks. All these guys are top 5 picks, and they did nothing as a group. They never took over. You don't see any Connor McDavid in any of these guys. That's special. And Dale Talon's job was supposed to find a Patrick Kane for our team, but he can't. And he had 10 years. And I don't blame the owners. I don't. Why do I not blame the owners? Because they inherited him just like Stephen Ross inherited Bill Parcells. I've told you guys this before. And Stephen Ross had to give Bill Parcells a couple of years. He figured out it didn't work, and then he made his changes. Now, he didn't make very good changes, okay, and I get that. But they inherited Dale Talon, who did an awesome job in Chicago. So we figured he would do an awesome job for us here. It never happened. It never materialized. You can't give a man, you couldn't give him 10 seasons, but they did. They did. They gave him 10 seasons. A couple months ago, here's the rant we had. Go ahead, Bill. What's going to end up taking over, ladies and gentlemen, are not athletic directors and head coaches anymore. Come on, Bill. Let's go. Forget about it, bro. Forget about it. You don't know what the hell you're doing here. All right, so, look, the bottom line is that when we look at this team, it has to be blown up. The front office has to be blown up. And where I give Viola and Sifu a ton of credit is that they actually did what they were supposed to do. And let me tell you, I told you guys this. I was afraid they weren't going to be able to make the change this year, that they were going to hang on to him for another year because of all the losses with COVID and everything else, But the good thing is his contract was expiring. So they didn't have to bring him back. And this mutual crap, his ass got fired. They didn't want him back. And there's no reason he should be back. The guy has been a joke. You realize Jeff Ireland was better than this guy. That's scary. That's a real scary thought, man. Jeff Ireland's better than this guy. So that's where I'm telling you that this change had to be made. And you know what's the twisted part about all of this? Is that they had an opportunity to actually do this a few years back. The only problem was they did it wrong. When they took the power away from Dale and then they put him more in personnel just to kind of scout, and then Tom Rowe and the analytics people, the problem was that they ended up with too many chefs in the kitchen, and that never works out. It's too hard that way. So they had to find one person, and then they went back to Dale because it was such a disastrous year coming off a great year. And I get all of that. And again, another credit to the owners. They made the changes. It didn't work out. They didn't waste time. They blew it up right away. Again, props to Sifu, props to Vinny Viola for doing the right thing. Here, this was a guy that was legendary coming out of Chicago. And they gave him every opportunity and every resource he needed. And yet he couldn't find the right players. You had to do this. The Panthers, as they're built right now, it's a joke. And here's the other thing that these owners are now going to learn and to realize. You no longer you pay these players early in their careers. Pay the price, pay the market price, but pay it when you know that you got special. Because Barkov has great talent, but he doesn't have the fire to go with it. Okay? Listen to Barkov. Play Barkov and Yandel after the loss. Here's Barkov and Yandel addressing the exit against the New York Islanders.
If you look back on it, should have been goal 10 times out of 10, but the defenseman made a really good play, and I was just unlucky on that one.
It's hard to dissect right now, obviously. It's a lot of emotions.
They played really well this game and played really hard on us, and they didn't give us much, especially 5-on-5. Yeah, they were really good in this game, so we had to be a lot better, but we just couldn't do it. Didn't get the result what we wanted. Wanted to go further, wanted to battle for the cup, but now this one is over. Can't really think about anything else. But obviously, playing in these games, it's totally different atmosphere. Even without the crowd in the stands, you feel that playoff atmosphere and playoff type of game. You get nothing easy, and so it was really good for us because we haven't been in the playoffs for a while, and it was good experience for us. But this should not be we should not be happy with this result. We want to be a lot better. I think the only way is up. We got a good experience in this playoffs. Obviously, not the result we wanted.
It's not playoffs. You didn't get any experience in the playoffs, Barkov. You didn't make the playoffs, dude. Okay? That's the first thing right there. That's one thing. I mean, just listen to him. He's not pissed off enough. I've said this for a while now. Barkov can't be your number one player. He doesn't have it, bro. He's a great talent. He's not a great leader. That guy's not the guy. He needs to be a number 2, number 3 guy on your team. He cannot be the centerpiece of your team at all. Nice guy, too nice is the problem with Alexander Barkov. And, you're going to build on this. Oh, dude, I'm tired of building. There's no more building with you guys. It's destroying. It's blow it up. What we do know for a fact is that all of you guys don't work well together. We actually need to bring in real leaders for this team. They have no leaders. There's no alpha dog in that locker room. That's why the Panthers lose all the time. No dogs. And I'm glad that these guys made the changes. Now they've got to make the right changes. They've got to find the right general manager. And as for Bobrovsky, that thief who just played like dog crap this year, let's hear from Bob and his legendary press conference, because as we all know, it is what it is.
Try to do my best, try to stay focused and try to stay with it. It is what it is. It's definitely, it sucks to losing and to end the season. Could be worse, could be better. It is what it is. Right now, it sucks. It's just like, it's disappointing. It's frustrating, and it is what it is. So we lose as a team, we win as a team. It is what it is. Like, it is what it is. We move on. Just one of those things when you have to find a way. It is what it is. Mistakes is mistakes. It's a game of mistakes. I think we made some strides as a team. You can jump right away to the roof. Lots of talent in this room, and we're close and we're excited about the future.
Oh, yeah. Boy, we're excited about your future. $60 million in 6 more years. I mean, it's like we have this tendency on this team to have, old and over-the-hill goaltenders that are being overpaid, because that's what happened with Luongo for many years. His contract was 700 years long, and you had to keep him around. And if this guy plays like this, you're going to end up with another overpaid goaltender. And it is what it is. And he did say that many times in the interview. Again, I don't see guys that are regretting this season. You know what I'm saying? That's the part that pisses me off about these Panthers. I don't see guys that are showing me the pride in failure. And what I mean by that is, be pissed off, dude. Like, be disgusted with your play. Because I'm disgusted with your play. I'm disgusted with your results. How come you're not disgusted with the results? How come you're not apologizing to everybody? Because that's the first thing that Alexander Barkov should actually do is, I'd like to apologize to Panther fans everywhere. We have failed you. I failed you. I didn't do enough to lead this team to victory. That's what Barkov should be saying. Bobrovsky, a mercenary that now is, stealing money without a gun and a mask. I hope he takes a lot of pride in taking all that money and producing very little.
It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. We got to focus. Don't forget, folks, you got to focus. Oh, my God. Here's our talent rant. Our boy found it finally. Go ahead, Bill. You got it? Here's our talent rant.
Yeah, this is from way back.
February.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
February 21.
Dale Talon proves he's a really good general manager. Because he's not. I mean, how much more, bro? How much more are you going to rest on your laurels? How much more are we going to write, talk about it on TV, on radio? Dale Talon was great in Chicago. I don't give a rat's ass about Chicago. I don't care what you did with the Blackhawks. What are you doing for me? What are you doing for my team here in South Florida? That's all I care about. I ride and die right here. I care about my Dolphins and my Canes, my Golden Panthers, my Owls, my Heat, my Hurricanes basketball, men, women, you name it. I love my Florida Panthers. I love my Miami Marlins. I love my Inter Miami, you name it. I ride and die with South Florida sports. Everybody knows it. That's all I care about. Don't tell me about what you did then. Show me what you can do for me now. And you've had 10 years. 10 effing years, Dale Talon. Come on. If you're a good general manager, you will prove it in multiple places. I've seen it on multiple sports. I just gave you a couple of examples. What is Dale Talon's excuse? Because he's done nothing here. Think about it. 10 years, 2 playoff appearances, possibly 3. What is that? Tell me, what is that? What are you going to mention? Huberdeau now, and you're going to mention Barkov, and you're going to mention Trocheck? Big deal. What has that produced? There's nothing to brag about with the Panthers. It's like, could Dale Talon go to another city and actually sit down and brag about what he did in Florida? Think about that. Dale Talon walks into your office, and he, let's say, he wants to work for Toronto, right? So the owner of Toronto is going to go, well, Dale, you did great in Chicago. What happened in Florida? They gave you all the money. You signed all these young guys to long-term contracts. You made all the moves you wanted to make, any trade you wanted to make. You signed a goaltender to a ridiculous contract. What are you doing, Dale? Show me. I don't know. Tell me. At one point or another, you got to prove that you're the guy. And right now, I got to tell you, you know that Dale Talon is turning into one of the biggest busts in South Florida history. Jimmy Johnson, I believe, made the playoffs 3 out of 4 years. Am I correct? He was here a short time, but 75% of the time made the playoffs. I know, he bombed out in the playoffs, and they were never special. So it was a little bit, it was a bust for Jimmy here. He failed here. He didn't succeed here. So what's Dale Talon? Come on, man. As the saying goes, you got to crap or get off the pot. And if I'm the owners, I got to look at that guy and say, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing here? What have you done here? And I got to tell you something. If you're the owners, you also have to question yourself and say, we've kept this guy here 10 years. I think we made a mistake. That's where we're at. So I'm not into great effort. I'm not into moral victories. I told you this at the beginning of the year with the Panthers. The gloves are off. They're off. I'm done. I'm done with Dale Talon. And you know what? If this continues at the end of the year.
In its entirety, it is February 21st, segment 7. It's obviously more. We cut out the excerpt from that.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot more in that rant.
And on the fact of lack of media chime in.
No.
Regarding that. We did.
But now after he's been fired, all he said, hey, Dale's got to go. Dale's got to go. Not one. Okay.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Only on this show will you get the brutal honesty that you're not going to get anywhere. Why? Because those other 2 stations are owned by one company that's associated with the teams. Fluff game for 2, 3, 4 hours every day on radio. Again, you want to hear real sports talk, or do you want to hear fluff? Or do you just want to hear propaganda for the team? If that's what you're going to get, well, then you're not going to get real honesty, unfortunately. That's just the way it goes. And the only place you're going to get it is here. No other place. And I was like that when I was at QAM. Even though, again, any of you met me out on the street over the last few years, and you walked up to me, if there's anybody watching right now, or anybody that's downloading the podcast at any time, day or night, now that you're listening, if any of you ever met me and said, hey, I love your honesty, how many times did I answer back to many of you out there? Thank you, I appreciate it, but it's not a very popular way to go. I would always follow up with that. And I always wondered, because I never really got a reaction from people when I would tell them that. They would kind of stay quiet. And I would imagine that it would marinate in their minds going, what does he mean by that? You know? And yeah, what I mean by is that you're going to get heat from above if you're actually critical, very harshly critical of teams. If you're firing people, they don't want that. They don't want that. That makes little Lenny nervous. He's nervous, and his socks are too. Text line 786-322-1105 if you want to get in. That's 786-322-1105.
Should have been goal like 10 times out of 10.
That's right.
10 times out of 10 is you get it, right?
Perfect,
It's
yeah.
perfect, right?
Yeah.
You don't miss.
Yeah, Barkov's not very good with math. Yeah. Yeah, no, 10 times out of 10. Yeah, well, apparently not for you.
It is what it is.
That's right. It is what it is. The video is choppy as hell for me. Anyone else? Sorry if we're having internet connections or issues there. Talent's gone, but known quality replacements may be hard to find. Shanahan about to have his ass fired in Toronto after another round one flameout. Did about the same results with more talented Leafs. Hey, listen, David, it's not easy to find the right people, but that's their job. So they've got to go find the right person to turn this team around. That's what they're supposed to do, dude.
You know what?
You know?
Remember, it can be done. Look at Vegas, their first season.
Yeah.
Make it to the finals.
Yeah.
Okay, you can fast track.
Yeah.
It was proven last year.
And they got rid of that coach, and then they're still kicking ass now. Big O, now the South Florida reporters will say they were thinking what you were saying months ago about Dale. LOL, yeah? No, that's how it always comes out. The tough guy talk comes out after. Do it while the coach is still in town. That's when you're supposed to do it. Not when he leaves. It's like, hey, I know one of the Panther owners. I'll tell him straight to his face because I like him. Because I like him a lot because he's a good dude. And because I respect him, I'm not going to tell him one thing and then go say something else on the air. I would tell him the same thing. Yo, you got to fire Dale. Straight up. And I'll tell you what, the Panther ownership will appreciate that. That I'm not going to be two-faced and I'm not going to be saying one thing. Oh, no, you guys are doing great. They're terrible. They got to fire Dale. What the hell? No, man, no. I'll tell the owners straight up what you got to do. Because that's the way I'd rather it be. I'd rather you know where I'm coming from than be a phony and tell you one thing and then I go do something else. Mike No-Go Zone says, I'm so pumped up for the Islanders versus Capitals. Have fun, my brother. I would say I wish it was us, but I know how it would end, so it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Life is a Gamble says, college football shouldn't get canceled. If these kids want to play, let them play. Those who don't can sit and watch like a fan for a year. Well, you know what? Let's address that. Let's address that because I'm glad you brought that up. Life is a Gamble on that because you know how the players now are saying, well, we want to unionize and we want to play and all that. Okay. So what happens when you get COVID and you have a respiratory issue for months, maybe a couple years, maybe a heart issue, and it ruins your chance to go to the NFL? Who are you suing now? You're going to sue the school you went to, right? You're going to sue the school. You're going to sue the administrators. Why? Because you ended up losing out. And that's the problem with players. That's the problem with kids. Let's just go that way, okay? Because if you're a parent, if you're a business owner, if you're a teacher, if you're whatever, anything, any type of adult that's around kids, okay? Kids don't have experience. So they talk about stuff and they've never lived it. They don't know if they actually can do certain things, right? And you have to then fill in the blanks and tell them, no, this is what will happen in this case. Whether they listen to you or not, that's a whole different ballgame, right? You all know that because you all went through it with your parents when you were kids. It's about learning. And these kids don't understand because they're not adults. And they don't have any responsibilities. You know what their responsibility is? I need to get up. I need to go to class. I got to do my homework. I got to go to practice. And guess what? I'm also going to go get laid. That's it. There are no mortgages. There's no rents. There's no car payments. There's nothing. There's not a job that you've got to go to every day at a specific time. Okay? Certain demands that are on you that are pressurized. They don't have that kind of stuff. They're in school. Yeah, there's pressure and doing your schoolwork and all that other stuff, but give me a break. We all know. The rest of us that are juggling one or two jobs, family, everything else, you know what I'm talking about. Way harder than anything we did in school. Okay? And non-forgiving whatsoever. Whereas in school, you could be forgiven many times over. Here, no. Life is unforgiving, and it runs your ass over. And so what these kids aren't looking at is they're not administrators. They're not business owners. So they don't know anything about lawsuits. Now, they know how to file one if they need to, but they don't know how to protect themselves from a lawsuit. And that's what these people have to do. They have to protect themselves from a lawsuit. Oh, here's the other thing that I'm hearing. Oh, we got to unionize ourselves to make better decisions for ourselves. Well, guess what's going to happen? College football is not going to pay you because the second they pay you, they empower you. You now have a say, and they're not going to want that. Plus, you can't pay in college football because it would only be 30, 35, 40 schools that could pay. The rest of them would lose their asses. Do you think FIU and FAU could pay? Really? Come on. And what are you going to do? Pay across the board? Pay other sports that produce no money? No, you're not. And what are you going to do if you're a school that barely gets by with your football program? You will cancel it if you have to pay the students. Because then that would put you in the red. And for those schools like FIU and FAU, you're already in the red because of football. Football doesn't make money there. Football doesn't support their athletic programs like like Michigan, like Ohio State, like Alabama. That's not going on at FIU and FAU. So if you want to pay kids, I just want you to know FIU and FAU are not going to have football teams anymore. Their football teams will be a notch above club teams. And it'll ruin a lot of college sports because then that'll take money away from other sports too that are sustained by for a student. All you got to do is your homework, go meet your girlfriend, go have a beer, and have some fun. You remember those days? Remember those days? High school, college, not a care in the world. Welcome to reality, where any business you're in, you have to think about lawsuits. Any business you're in, what decision I'm going to make, can it create a lawsuit? I don't care if you're opening up a Chipotle, a nursery, you're running a college football team, a radio station, you name it. Lawsuits are everywhere. And every time you're doing something, you have to think about, okay, are we insulated here? Are we protected from lawsuits? And if we can get a lawsuit, how do we protect ourselves from getting that lawsuit? You think kids think that? You think Joe Fan, that all he thinks about is, I got to see my Wolverines take the field. I got to see my South Carolina Gamecocks take the field. Yeah, pay them. Yeah, unionize them. But you're not thinking as a school. We have people that have moved from other countries here, and they're from soccer countries. And they want the U.S. to make the MLS promotion, and we don't do that in America. Why? Because we don't only have one league in our country. Every other country's got pretty much one league. Maybe Australia has the rugby league that's pretty big. Maybe some countries might be able to squeeze in a second league. We have 5. Not 1, not 2, 5. And you think you're going to tell an American business company, here, $500 million for an expansion fee. And by the way, if you don't do it good enough, we'll send you down to the MPSL or USL, where, what do you think? We don't support minor leagues in this country. You're going to ask for $500 million, then you're going to put them down in a league that draws nothing? No, you can't do that. This is America. Capitalism at its finest. You don't do that here. Okay? So I get it. But it would promotion and relegation be fun? Hells to the yeah, it would be fun. But I live in America where we don't do that. Okay? We do things the American way, not the Brazilian way, not the English way, not the French way, not any way. We do it our way. It's our way or the highway. And they're in reality. So for you international soccer fans that have moved to this country, understand you live in America. Okay? Things are done the American way, not your way. Okay? Same thing here. Kids are kids. And these college football players are full of crap. And they're so full of crap, their eyes are brown. And any Joe fan or Joe media member that's going along for this ride also never has worked. Apparently, either you've worked for businesses, yet you don't pay attention to liabilities and all the other things that American businesses have to deal with on a consistent basis. And you think they're just going to pay players and empower them? Get the hell out of here. And players think that they're going to unionize and be together when it's uneven? Yeah, Alabama players that are one level and FAU players are at another level, dude. The disparity between... There's only one Trevor Lawrence. There are no other ones. And he can live in his fantasy world. And by the way, Trevor Lawrence isn't very bright. I got to say that. Let me just add a caveat to all of this. Trevor Lawrence isn't very bright. Here's a kid that's got the number 1 spot locked up. There's a pandemic going on, already won a national title, and here is his goofy ass, I want to play, I want to play, I want to play. Do you have any idea what you're risking, young man? For what? Oh, for your teammates. Oh, please. Don't give me this gullible crap. Dude, you're the number 1 pick. Don't be stupid. You don't need football this year. Shut the hell up. A guy like that ends up with COVID, ends up with a heart issue and never gets to play football. He doesn't. Again, kids. They haven't lived life. They haven't been effed enough. You know what I'm saying? You know how life effs you? Yeah, that's their problem. They've been living this fantasy. Mom and dad been taking care of them, paying the roof over their heads. Now they're in college. They're getting treated like stars. They barely have to even do anything in class. Their classmates love them, idolize them. Chicks want to bang with them. They don't understand that the second that's all over, and then you got to go get a job, because most of them will have to go get a job and start a career and pay mortgages and rent and all that and insurances and everything else. Then they understand the ass kicking that life gives you every single day. They're not the ones that have to keep the house together through a pandemic and find different jobs. No, they're just going to school. That's all they got to worry about. Kids, man, they live in this fantasy. Cookie Vice, thank you, my brother. Chiming in on the super chat, he says video is working fine. Have a great weekend. LA would be a great bubble. It has at least 4 NFL quality stadiums: new stadium, Rose Bowl, Coliseum, Charger Stadium from last year. I agree. You can have a couple of teams there if you want. Big O, with college football out, what does this mean for the draft next year? Oh, Dirty Mike. It means you're going to be doing a lot of guessing, my friend. That's what it means. There's not enough tape. So there isn't a real conviction on anybody. You know, there's a couple players that maybe stood out that are, got star quality, but there's a lot of gambling going on. Oh, my Lord. Oh, man. Let's see. I received some mask hate yesterday when I was jogging outside. Dude asked me why no mask. I said, I'm jogging, not near anyone. Dude hated on me big. I told him, keep your distance and F off. Well, you're supposed to wear a mask when you're outside. That's kind of the law, But I get it. When you're running like that and you figure, but the problem is you're running and you're breathing. So if you go close to anybody, that's the only thing. So no teams would want to be shorthanded into Thursday or Friday night's bubble cities. Players hate night games. Well, at this point, players don't have much of a choice, man. Let's see. What do we have here? Seeing the Big Ten and Pac-12 leading the charge from the Power 5 for postponement. I haven't seen the official postponement from those conferences yet, to be honest with you. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened, because the word is Big Ten and Pac-12 were already they were waiting for everybody to talk to the rest of the conferences to kind of all do it at the same.
Be the in-between guy.
Yeah. DJ Mello says, Big O, the Panthers called me for season tickets the day they got eliminated from the Islanders. on a Friday? Wow. Damn, that's not a good time to call. Trade Bob to the Kraken. With that salary, my brother, I don't think Bob's going to be able to be traded. You know what I don't know? Because I'm not a hockey expert by any stretch in any way. Can the Panthers pay a certain portion of his salary and trade him away? I don't know if they can or not. Oh,
so you're talking about eat the money.
Some of it,
and
like they do in baseball.
Make him a bargain deal to unload him to another team.
Yeah, like the Marlins.
I'll eat up 4 of the 7 or 3.5.
Marlins have had to do that both ways.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They've had the luxury of taking a player that somebody else is paying for, and they've had to then pay for a player that they had to get rid of and pay a portion of his salary. Yeah. Big O, talent's gone, but known quality replacements may be hard to find, but that's hard. You got to find them, dude. You got to find a way to, get them on there. Let's see. What else do we have? The power conferences have all the power against NCAA. They will leave the NCAA and have their own champion series and allow players to monetize their name brand. There you go. That could happen, but they're not going to pay them. They're not going to pay them because they're not going to give them power. There's no way they do that to these players. No way. No way college football empowers them. I can't see it happening. All right, 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. And the Trevor Lawrence stuff that I told you about, because he's kind of silly. He put out these tweets. He says, players, and look how naive this guy is. Again, kids. Players being safe and taking all the right precautions to avoid contracting COVID because the season and teammates' safety is on the line. Without the season, as we've seen already, people will not social distance or wear masks or take the proper precautions. Okay, so it's all right for then players to then be going to parties, and he's on a team that had a whole bunch of positives for COVID. Oh, and by the way, Trevor, are you sure you're not going to get any of your coaches sick? So are you willing to maybe possibly get one of your coaches sick or maybe kill him? He goes on to say, not to mention the players coming from situations that are not good for them, their future, and having to go back to that. Well, I understand that, but if school is open and football is not, well, then you could go back to school and be a student. And if you go home, then be online and be a student. I mean, it's up to you to make some good choices, man. Plenty of people grow up in bad neighborhoods and they make good choices. It's up to everybody to make those good choices. I mean, what you can't do is bring 100 kids together and then you're helping and spread the virus. And we're watching that college players are testing positive all over the country. And then what happens if one of them develops a heart issue? What do you think happens then? Oh, they're going to sue the hell out of the school. He says football is a safe haven for so many people. We are more likely to get the virus in everyday life than playing football. Having a season also incentivizes it. People are just as much, if not more, at risk if we don't play. Players will be sent home to their own communities where social distancing is highly unlikely. Oh, like they are in school? Like they are in colleges? Like they're going to social distance in college. Unlikely, and medical care and expenses will be placed on the families if they were contracted COVID-19. That part I would agree with. That's the only part that was true. Outside of that, everything else was selfish. It's about us. It's about us being players and playing football, but he doesn't care about the ramifications of spreading COVID within your football team and football teams all over the country and how they're going to be spreading it into the student body, vice versa, right? Student body spreading it to football players. And then your teachers, administrators, coaches, janitors, cafeteria workers, you name it. All these other people that are old, like yours truly, will be at risk. And what if you kill any of those people? Trevor, have you thought of that? Of course, because kids don't think about that. Kids are just thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about the big picture to all of this. And it's not just kids. We have adults also that can't think of the big picture out of all of this. So that's where Trevor Lawrence is full of crap.
How much do you think the situation with the Georgia school and the picture of all those kids and then the negative social everything that, like, maybe colleges say, you know what, man, we need to rethink what the hell's going on
I
here.
think the MAC is what did it.
The MAC's the one that pushed. Do you think the players getting together in the Pac-12 and trying to start this union thing, and do you think that all these little things contribute, and it's like, man,
and college and
the deck is getting stacked against us.
And the university about to say, we're putting a kibosh on this right now.
Because look at how social media is just at every turn. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Yeah, because the people that are saying it's wrong, all they care about is the game itself.
They don't
care about the repercussions from anything. All they care about is the game, and I love the game too, man. I don't want to see college football. That NFL and college football are my favorite sports. I live for that. Yeah, as you all know, I've covered the draft like nobody else in this town. So obviously I follow both and love both. But I got to look at things. My job here, if I'm going to do this job, is to be objective. If I'm going to do this kind of talk show, I'm going to be objective. I'm not going to play the homer and get the pom-poms and no, man, that's just not my style. I'm not going to do that. That's why, hey, look, when it comes to point spreads and all that, I'm just as good or just as bad as anybody on that. You're going to get some right. You're going to get a lot more wrong. That's why Vegas is rich. But when it comes to sports itself, we have a pretty good batting average on this show. You know why? I don't play the fan part. I take the fan part out, and then I look at it the way it should be looked at and say, okay, it is what it is. Whether it's Dale Talon, whether it's college football, for months I've told you, I don't think college football is happening at all. And I told you the NFL only because of greed. They'll try it. And I still think they'll get railroaded by this pandemic because they're not bubbled. So a whole bunch of them are going to pick up COVID. I love the MLS. I work for Inter. I'm terrified now that they left the bubble. I don't know how this league is going to survive after the bubble. I don't know how any league survives outside of a bubble. I watch what's going on with the NBA and the NHL. It's beautiful, dude. And the MLS tournament, too, is beautiful. Nobody's ever missing. Nobody's ever out. Look at baseball. They can't go a week without teams missing. They've got already so many teams that have to make up games already, and we're only 2 weeks in. Can you imagine?
Yeah, have you seen the back end of the Marlins schedule?
27 games in 23 days. I know.
It's like 4 doubleheaders in that's 7 or 8 days.
They have a 7-game series in 5 days with the Phillies.
Right.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
I know.
So that's what I'm saying. And they may not even have the pitchers to do that at that moment because guys may contract the COVID at that time. The good thing, we're lucky, is so far nothing serious has developed from it yet. And I say yet because I'm terrified that something will.
Do you think that college football shifts to trying to get it in during the spring?
Yes, I think
to at least salvage.
I think they wait to see if they can. And then by the time it rolls around, then they'll make their decision and say
there is a tough situation because hearing some of the GMs
remember
you have to be planning for a go, but it's tentative on what happens.
Right, and remember because of the
if
TV
you go, you got to be ready.
The TV contracts, this allows them to collect on those TV contracts. So that's what this is all about.
Yes.
That's what this is all about.
It's all about money at the end of the day, man.
Right.
Even the decision of the universities to not play, it's because of liability.
And let me tell you something, and this is
money.
And it's really smart on their part because it would end up being more expensive and they'll lose money in the process. Not lose overall because they make so much money, they'll make a profit anyways. But what I'm saying is they'll lose some of their profits if they have to start and restart. Start and stop and restart.
I thought I heard today.
And that does not fly for college football. So you're better off, okay, why are we going to start now when we can't keep people healthy? There are kids testing positive for COVID all over the country. You know what? Let's shut it down now. Let's see if maybe the country gets better by the spring, and then we can play out our entire season. Now, you may not be – Trevor Lawrence may not be available to you, but so what?
I'm willing to bet anybody that's a 1, 2, or 3 round pick, any of those guys in the top 100,
they're gone.
There's no way.
They're gone.
You know what? But here, I've been thinking about this. If those guys opt out, the next drafts, 22, 23, those younger kids, you get to take a look at them longer.
Yeah.
You get a better look, you know. So there is you got to give up here, but you'll gain over there, you know. The number that I heard today, them throwing around on ESPN, they're talking about a $4 billion a year business, college football, TV, and all that.
By the way,
billion.
Cameron Teague is a football writer with the Courier-Journal, and he writes that Satterfield said this morning, as of this morning, he was told the ACC is moving forward no matter what other conferences do. That's what we will do until we hear otherwise. So, that's probably with inside Louisville. They're not making the decision. The people above them are going to make the decisions. So,
look, you have schools in Georgia Tech. You have 2 schools in Florida. South Carolina has not done. there's so many locations in the ACC that
Louisiana
states are not doing well.
No, Louisiana, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, California, and Arizona are like 7 hot spot states. I know because I follow this every day. And if you follow me on social media, you know I post the people that passed away, the COVID tests, the states that are the hot spots, and all of that. And those states are, and a lot of them are in the SEC.
Yes.
You know, I was screwing around with a buddy of mine, David Miller, who's a host on the West Coast in Fox, and he tweeted me out about 2 months ago when I had that rant that I said, hey, it'll be hard for football to survive. I don't think it's going to happen on the college level, and the NFL is slim to none. And he sent me back a tweet a couple months back when I put that up, and he goes, you want to bet? So I had some fun. I saved that tweet, and I go, I'm going to need this later on so I can mess with him. So I saved the tweet, and I brought it out last night, and I resent it back to him. I said, hey, this thing isn't aging well. Just want you to know. Stay safe. And so he started laughing. He goes, I still think the SEC will play. And I go, I understand. Greed will drive them because the SEC is like the NFL. They're super greedy, and they don't really care about player safety. But eventually the virus is going to take over, and they're in hot spot. There's no conference that has more hotspot states than, of course, the SEC. So why would they play? You know, but whatever. You know, look at the people in South Dakota. You look at them, and they are, you know.
They don't understand why. What do you mean we can't play football? We have no cases, but you're the exception.
Yeah. Move all the teams to South Dakota and play. North Dakota.
Some of the things that we're talking about.
Although South Dakota, after this week, will become a hot spot because of those guys, because of, 250,000 people or whatever packing that place. Man, that's impressive.
They were talking about, like, you think college football, the number, the kid, traveling from getting all these guys, like, man. And the fact that some schools are still even talking about, okay, we can percentage it and have 15% of the fans in. What are you going to do in the parking lot? And how are they going to set up hotel rooms? And like, there's such a massive undertaking.
They don't care. And they're really not realistic. That's the other thing. That's the problem with them, that they're not realistic, and that eventually reality sets in, which is what's happening now. And now they're going to end up canceling the season and pushing it maybe to the spring. All depends. If we're idiots, we won't have any football in the spring either. But it's up to us, man. I really don't understand this anti-mask stuff. I don't understand it. I really don't. But
I went through it this weekend.
No, everybody sees it, bro.
Listen, a close friend, and he has medical situation, that, and we have, like, because of relation to where he lives, get together and social distance and all that, to at least say, hey, to at least get out of the house, say hi. His son happened to be over there with his daughter, 2 years old. And his son was all about, because I'm like, hey, and he's like, hell with that. I'm like, and I'm backing up. I'm like, hey, no. Dude, get away from me. Sorry, bro. You can't be like that. What's wrong with you? You got a 2-year-old daughter. Come on, man.
Right.
What's wrong with you? But he's 24.
Right. Oh, there you go.
You know,
right.
Just,
right.
I'm invincible.
Right.
And I even got into him like, hey, man, what about your dad? Your dad has medical issues, man. Your dad has diabetes. This could be a real problem. Come on, man. If not for you, for the family, bro. Come on.
I won't go see my mother-in-law, bro. I wouldn't. No way. Told my wife that. No way. Won't say hi to her. I'll say hi from a distance. Hey, but there won't be no hugs. There won't be no kisses. I don't have it, but God forbid I may have it. And who knows? Maybe I had it already and it left. I don't know. Because you don't know if this thing kicks your ass or it does nothing to you. That's the scary part about it. They haven't figured out what's in our DNA that makes us really suffer at it. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, obese people are at a disadvantage, and if you have medical issues, you're at another disadvantage. The problem is there have been obese and there have been people with medical issues that have had the corona and have survived with barely any issues. And then there are some people that they just get absolutely trashed or die.
No, and the thing about it is within the same home.
Yeah.
Because we've heard about the mayor in Atlanta. We've heard about the Cuomo home.
Yeah.
That 4 or 5 people had it, and everybody went through a different situation with it.
Yeah.
And you got to think they all got the same strand. It isn't like this one got this strand, this one got, because they talked about 6 different strands with this. No, in the same house, you probably got the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, how the hell did it affect all 4 people differently? That's the part that, yeah, man, there's too many variables still to even risk it.
Pat in Nashville goes, revising the Mike Tyson quote, every college has a plan until COVID hits them in the mouth. That's a good one, Pat. I like it. All right, it's 1:05. We're already late. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Got some basketball things I want to talk about, a little baseball. Marlins did not have a good weekend. I got some music notes also that I want to get to. Really cool one, too, that I want to get to. Back with more right here on the Big O Show.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
We back. If y'all want to get in, you can reach out to us on the text line 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. Let's see. G in Pennsylvania says, Big O, I just saw this morning that your Panthers just fired Dale Talon. As a Flyers fan, if I was a Panthers, I'd hire a new GM. I would go after Ron Hextall to be the next GM. Ron knows how to draft young stud players. If it wasn't for Ron the last couple of years from my Flyers, the Flyers would be a number one team in the Eastern Conference today. G from Pennsylvania. All right. Former goalie, Ron Hextall. I remember Ron Hextall.
Awesome goalie, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Definitely. Hell of a goalie. Not surprised that a goalie would be a good GM. It's kind of like catchers with baseball, right? They turn into some pretty good managers sometimes. So, yeah, it happens. Listen, I don't know who. I'm not smart enough, to be honest with you, but I just hope that they listen, I think they will hire somebody that's really, really good, okay? I think that's something that you can definitely count on. Yes.
Because look at what they've done at goalie, the general manager they got, Talon Pryor, and the coach they brought in.
Right.
They're all the elite.
Yes. It's just it didn't work out with Talon, and we thought he was going to be elite. It just, unfortunately, not the way. Now, we have not seen so far anything in official from any of the conferences yet. Pac-12 player group disappointed after commissioner call. There's a story that's coming through. It says Pac-12 players, We Are United movement said they were disappointed and deeply concerned after a recent meeting with the conference commissioner. The players sent an email to Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott late Friday accusing him of not taking the issues that they have raised seriously enough. The email was also shared with members of the media. The group's correspondence came after Scott followed their Thursday call with an email to the players that struck a very different tone, thanking them for the passion and honesty which you spoke with yesterday evening. The group is pushing the conference to address their concerns about COVID-19 protocols, racial injustice in college sports, and economic rights for college athletes. Players threatened opting out of practice and games if their demands aren't addressed. Leaders of the group have said their movement has more than 400 players around the conference supporting it. In their email to the commissioner, the players said they were unsatisfied with Scott's answers to questions about increasing frequency of COVID-19 testing done on athletes. Here we go. And mandating of best practices across the conference. Without a discernible plan and mandates to ensure the health and safety of student athletes, it is absurd, offensive, and deadly to expect a season to proceed. When the players went public with their demands last Sunday, they reached out to the Pac-12 and requested daily meetings with conference officials. Instead, they got one call last week and pledged from the conference for continued communication. You informed us we cannot have legal representation attend these meetings to assist us in connection with our legal rights, nor were you willing to even have regular meetings with us to provide updates. That's because you guys don't run the show. This silliness, they're not going to empower you guys. Okay? College football is college. It's not pro. They're not going to do that. They're not going to share their money. They're not doing that. Oh, kids. Scott's email address, 4 topics that made the bulk of their Thursday call with 12 players: health and safety, eligibility, COVID-19 liability waivers, and opt-outs due to COVID-19 concerns. Scott wrote the conference will attempt to provide the players an opportunity to speak with Pac-12 Medical Advisory Committee and keep them abreast of work being done at the NCAA level to address whether athletes who opt out of the coming season will be permitted to retain eligibility. Scott said the conference call would ensure none of these league schools asked athletes to sign liability waivers and reiterated that Pac-12 schools were committed to honoring scholarships of players who chose not to play this season because of COVID-19. We will work on gathering the information listed above and providing it to you as soon as possible. Players need to wake up, okay? And they're not going to get any kind of power. And these people aren't going to share their money, bro. They're not. And there is no way of doing it across the board equally for everybody because not everybody is equal. Alabama produces a hell of a lot more money than Miami. Forget about FIU and FAU. I don't even want to get into that. And so you cannot come up with stipends that will be, what are you going to do? For it to be equal with everybody, they're going to have to be pretty low in order for Akron to hang in there with Ohio State. Okay? It's just not going to happen. Again, some people just don't live in the reality, and that's our problem. All right. Let's see, 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. You know that while we have now recorded 5 million cases of COVID, and there's 19 in the world, so we have 25% of the cases, and we only have 4% of the world's population. New Zealand yesterday marked their 100th day with not one case of COVID. Not a death, not a case. There have been no new cases of coronavirus due to the community transmission in New Zealand in 100 days. The country's Minister of Health reported on Sunday. The news came the same weekend the United States surpasses 5 million cases. New Zealand's Director of Health, Dr. Ashley Bloomfield, thanked those who have been tested and the people doing the testing for contributing to the success. However, Bloomfield said the country cannot become complacent and that amid the pandemic, achieving 100 days without community transmission is a significant milestone. However, as we all know, we can't afford to be complacent. We have seen overseas how quickly the virus can reemerge and spread in places where it was previously under control. We need to be prepared to quickly stamp out any future cases in New Zealand. There have been 1,219 confirmed cases in the country. There are currently 23 people who have reported active cases of the disease in managed isolation facilities. The country has reported a small number of new cases of the coronavirus in individuals entering the country from other locations. According to releases from the Ministry of Health, the New Zealand border is closed to nearly all travelers, with some exceptions. The country declared a state of emergency and went into lockdown on March 25th. In late April, the Prime Minister said the country had won the battle against the widespread community transmission of the coronavirus. For the time being, by June 8th, New Zealand had appeared to have been totally eradicated the disease after health officials said the last known infected person at that time had recovered. New Zealand had been alerted level 1 since June 8th, which states the disease is contained within the country but uncontrolled overseas. So how about that? Schools and workplaces are permitted to open, and there are no restrictions on gathering or domestic travel. Now, I know they're an island, and they're kind of on their own, but they've been when you control the environment, they're in a bubble. You get it? And that's why they've been able to control it. And everybody's see, the thing is, in certain parts of the world, they stuck to their guns, and they did a hard line closure until they crushed it, and then they started to slowly open up again. And we would be at that stage already if we actually, but I saw that New Zealand, 100 days now without a new case.
You have to stick to your guns.
It's awesome.
And stick it out for the long haul. You can't.
It's awesome.
We were almost there. We were probably about 2 weeks to a month, right, for doing it right, because we had talked about the formula was 2 weeks of flat, and then anywhere from a week to 2 weeks of a decline, because it'll come.
Right.
We did not. We started to see flat, and we jumped in.
And we opened everything up.
Yes.
We shouldn't have been open.
It should have been gradual.
The bars should not have been open. South Beach should not have been allowed to be attended, like close South Beach down. All those kind of things. And we reopened it, bro, and we allowed it. And then also the protesting. The protesting has contributed so much to this pandemic because the more people that are out without masks, Trump, thank God, he stopped doing rallies. He only had a couple, and those couple were irresponsible too, but at least the man stopped. The damn protesting continues without masks. Again, I don't have anything wrong. I got nothing against the protesting. I'm all for it. I'm all for the Black Lives Movement. I got no problem with that whatsoever. But I have a problem when you're not wearing a mask and you're protesting. I have a problem when you're looting and setting stuff on fire. And by the way, you notice that it's all over the world? Okay, Lebanon just suffered, in Beirut, they suffered an explosion. Now there's rioting and there's all kinds of, you damage. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter what country, where it's at. In Paris, when I went to Paris a year and a half ago for my wedding anniversary, there was rioting and looting going on. And they were destroying their own city. Okay? And I saw it in Beirut. They already suffered enough damage from the bomb. Now they're destroying more things.
What do they call it? The mob mentality.
Yeah, but it's not just us. It's everybody. It's rioting wherever it is in the world. It's part of destroying your own community. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. I got to tell you, I don't understand it. Okay? I don't. Now, if 1,000 of you want to park your asses in front of a judge, a commissioner, a counselor, a senator, a governor, whatever, and just create havoc by parking your asses in front of his house, then go for it. I got no problem with that. But once you start destroying other people's property and their businesses and they're innocent people and you're getting them, I have a major problem with that. I have a major problem with that. Okay? Like all the crap that goes on in Portland. No, I'm not a Trump guy. I've said it 1,000 times. But I'm with Trump on that one. Oh, you can't control your own city? Well, then, yeah, I got to send people over. I get it when they're sending the feds. Oh, you don't like that the feds are going overboard? Well, dude, then control your own damn city. I would be pissed at our mayors and our county mayors or city mayors if we had rioting like that in Miami every night. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? So, yes, I'm just into common sense. Hey, protest. That's fine. Protest with a mask. Hey, protest. Don't loot. Hey, protest. Don't hurt people. Go support Trump. I'm not a Trump guy, but go support Trump. Wear a mask. Okay? Don't go to bars. Don't load it up with a bunch of people. Don't have private parties with 100 people. Don't go to the Ozarks and pound in a pool with 5,000 people. Don't go to Sturgis in South Dakota with 250,000 people wearing no masks. That's all I'm saying. Common sense, man. And maybe we can. Don't complain that you're losing your life and the things you want to do, and then you're not wearing a mask and you're spreading a virus. You can't have it both ways. That's the problem here. People want to have it both ways, and you can't. And they're not willing. People aren't willing to make the sacrifice they've got to make. So now we have set ourselves back, and the sacrifice will be much longer and way worse. Now we're going to have businesses closed longer than ever. So now way more businesses will close down. Way more people will lose jobs. Why? Because of ignorance. That's all. It's pretty simple. Ignorance.
Those people that riot and do what they do, they're out there saying they're trying to help their community, and then they go and burn it down.
Right. Right. That's not. I'm sorry. I just don't. That part I don't understand. I don't understand about tearing down your own community. I just don't do that. I can't. And when I see innocent people, they get hurt, or I see their businesses get destroyed, that's disgusting, dude. I mean, you're just as bad as the people you're protesting about. When you get out of jail for free, as soon as you're booked, like in New York, these people don't feel any kind of authority, especially when your leaders tell the cops to back. Oh, yeah, what goes on in de Blasio is a joke. De Blasio has neutered his police. Oh, that guy's a loser. I'm with you there. Big O sent you an article in the Detroit Free Press today. Big schools voted 12-2 not to play. Official announcement by the conferences will be made tomorrow. The football and fall sports canceled. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I expected this. If you've heard this show long enough, I expected college football to go down in flames. It's only they can't deal with the lawsuits, man. They got to understand, but they held out to see where the virus was at. They were hoping we would act like normal human beings, but we've acted like animals. And so now we have the virus all over the place, okay? And it's not going down like they tell you. They're testing less, by the way. Figure that one out. Anyway, you'll see the death rate goes down yesterday and today, and then it'll go skyrocket again Tuesday through Saturday, and it'll continue. I mean, look at the way people are behaving. There's no way the virus is going, it's funny how DeSantis will sit there, well, we've got these numbers, and for months he's been trying to put a spin, and for months it gets worse and worse and worse. You know what I mean? And for months now, people are doing stupid things. So as long as you see people doing stupid things and having parties and going to protests without a mask and all that stuff, we will continue to have these problems. But you go ahead and keep lying to the public. Big O, your own elected officials in Florida don't believe in wearing a mask. People, please go vote if you want change. I agree. But all these guys, dude, our county mayor is a joke. Our governor is a joke. I mean, it's ridiculous the way they've handled all this. It's sad other countries have it well under control and the USA can't use common sense, and our DuBois governor rushed everything to open to save his tenure. Well, actually what DeSantis just did was he assured himself that he wouldn't get a second tenure. If DeSantis hasn't figured that out on his own, I can't help you. All right, we got a break. Chris Whittingham's going to join us on the other side. Our football team, Inter Miami, acquired Blase Matuidi. Now, Whittingham is an expert in pronunciation, so I will ask him how the hell you pronounce this guy's name, since he's got to call all our games anyway, because he is the voice of Inter Miami football. So we will talk to the voice of Inter Miami football, Chris Whittingham, when we come back right here on the program.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021. At Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
We told you we're going to switch a little gears here. We'll get back to talking a little bit about college football and the mess that's going on there. The voice of Inter Miami football, you can hear it on our station, which will be coming up shortly here at the end of the month. But if you've listened to our games, all you got to do is download the Inter Miami app, and you will listen to this man, Chris Whittingham, call the play-by-play.
Signing.
Okay. Why? Well, maybe. Why? Because the physical is what we got to.
No, it's just like, the maxim in soccer is it's not done until the player is holding up the jersey. So it's been widely reported, but until the club confirm it themselves, we can't really fully call it a signing yet. But it will happen.
Okay, so it's Blaise. Say it again.
Blaise Matuidi.
Blaise Matuidi. Okay, Blaise
Yes.
Matuidi. All right. He is 33 years old. He's a central midfielder. Whitty, talk to us a little bit about what Paul is thinking of, the general manager of Inter, why he's adding him, and how it will affect the team in a positive way.
I thought the ESPN analyst Taylor Twellman put it really well. He was basically saying, if you think that the team's number one need is a striker, and look, with the shortage of goals, that certainly is a need, but central midfield was the biggest need. And getting the ball from back to front, ultimately, at some point, they would like to play a possession-based style into Miami. They haven't really been able to execute it, and that's at least in part because their midfield hasn't been able to get the ball into their threatening attacking players, which has forced Rodolfo Pizarro to come back and try and play the ball deeper, which is not where you want him. And ultimately, they have not had that connection in between back and front with the combination of Will Trapp and Victor Ulloa. So Blaise Matuidi is going to come in and solve that problem. He is, as you mentioned, 33 years old, but the pedigree is incredible. Won the World Cup and started in the World Cup final with France just 2 years ago when they beat Croatia. Has been playing with Juventus these last few years, and prior to that was at Paris Saint-Germain. So this is a player with incredible pedigree, still on pretty well top form. This isn't a player who's lost his legs or anything like that. I think the reports out it'll be a 3-year deal. Generally, when you sign players from Europe, you get more years, and maybe that last year isn't one that you'll love. But for the short term and for the medium term, this is an incredible signing because he gives a dynamic that Inter Miami are desperately calling out for.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that they've needed a little bit more creativity there. And you talked a little bit about this. Is Pizarro kind of feeling like a load has been taken off of him now, that he might be able to play a little bit more freely?
For sure, and you'll have more defensive cover as well. I mean, Matuidi, one of the biggest reasons why he played a lot more than was expected this past year with Juventus. I mean, look, 32 to 33-year-olds, that's around the time you're phased out of major club football. He played a ton this year because he played out of the left side of central midfield, closest to Cristiano Ronaldo. And the reason why you have to have a player like Matuidi in there is because he'll do a lot of running that Ronaldo just isn't going to do at this point in his career. And so he's kind of defending for two. He's defending for himself, and he's defending for Ronaldo. So that's a lot of ground that gets covered in the middle of the park that Pizarro doesn't have to worry as much about. Now, he'll still do some defensive work because a player that comes from Mexico and plays for the Mexican national team is never just going to stop defending. But it allows him to play in the kind of areas you want him to be in. And you want him to be ready to pounce in attacking opportunities and to not have to cover as much ground and to not have to come back to receive the ball. Matuidi being such a pro and good on the ball is going to allow him those opportunities. So, yeah, I think the one player who's most feeling a sigh of relief today is Rodolfo Pizarro, just because of the lessened amount of work and really the increased amount of focus he can have on what he's good at.
The radio voice of Inter Miami CF football, Chris Whittingham, joining us. You can follow him, by the way, on Twitter at Chris Whittingham. Chris, some people will look at his stats and say no goals to assist this year for Juventus. Are we really getting a player that's worth, reported $10, $11 million? I don't know what it is they're really paying him, but you break it down for us why he's worth that money.
Well, we should first start with the money. So that's his kind of value on the websites that kind of assess transfer value. But because of the coronavirus situation and also because of the very specific situation Juventus find themselves in, they're paying $0 for this transfer. All they have to pay is his salary, which we don't know if it'll come in at designated player level. The assumption is that it will, but that hasn't been confirmed yet by the club. But this is a free transfer. So that's the other positive, is that you're not spending big money, which is has been thrown around for some of these other transfer targets. Now, Matuidi, you mentioned those numbers. They're not necessarily indicative of ultimately a player's value. You can't just look at goals plus assists. That's what this player is worth. He's going to give you so much more than that. He's going to allow, the Lewis Morgans and Pizarros and Pellegrinis to have more success. He's going to allow for fullbacks to get forward. He's going to allow for just overall the flow of Inter Miami's play to create more chances. So even if he's not necessarily on the receiving end of them, although he has been able to be a decent set-piece goal scorer in his career, it's not necessarily baked into those two stats. This is a player that's going to add a lot more connectivity within the team. And ultimately, what you've really seen in these first 5 games is not necessarily that Inter Miami are bad at scoring chances, that they're bad at creating them. They just haven't really gotten, save really for the DC United match, into enough attacking positions to feel good about the chances you're creating. So you have to start to build that base with which you can attack from before you can really start to judge these attacking players. Because I don't think, Robbie Robinson or Julian Carranza or Pizarro or whoever has really gotten a fair shot at really showing off their attacking skills just because they haven't got into good enough areas to really threaten.
Now, Chris, is this a player that, he is taking one of the international spots, correct?
He will, yeah.
Okay,
He doesn't have any connections to the U.S.
Because he's 33, will be 34 down the line here. Is this a long-term play, or is this something that's a plug-in player for a year or two?
Well, the reports are that he'll sign a 3-year contract. So I imagine maybe in that final season, you're looking at maybe trying to see if another club, or ultimately you have to assess what the situation is, right? So come 2022, we'll see if this is a player that still is worth the amount of money that you're paying for him, or if maybe there is one last transfer for him on. But I think this is absolutely a view towards the short term. I think obviously they see a need to get results given that they've lost their first 5 matches. They see an opportunity as well because the playoffs aren't that far away, given that MLS just recently announced that the top 9 teams in each conference will make the playoffs. So you still have a chance to make it. And ultimately, Inter Miami don't want to leave 2020 having not left an impression in some way, made the playoffs, maybe won a playoff game, can start to, get a few results in a row so that when they do eventually open up their stadium, there is still the kind of momentum and excitement that was anticipated when 2020 began, obviously pre-pandemic. So I think that this is absolutely a move towards the short term. As you mentioned, his age, he'll be 34 in April of next year. So this is absolutely a move to try and figure out the problems that are currently with the team. I think they've had the chance to watch 5 games. Paul McDonough and Diego Alonso have had the opportunity to say, all right, let's figure out what's wrong with this team and what can we fix, rather than say, all right, we're going to spend on a 20-year-old from South America and see and project what he is into the future. No, we need something for now because ultimately the desire is there to get results.
All right, one more thing before I let you go. Chris Whittingham, of course, joining us, the radio voice of your Inter Miami CF football team. Make sure you download our app, Inter Miami app, and you'll be able to listen to all the games and many more things coming your way, too, on top of all of that. All right, so, Chris, this means that the other spot's going to go to a number 10, right? Like the next dude is going to be a striker, guaranteed, right?
Yeah, it would have to be an attacking player of some kind, right? Whether it's, the number 9 that has been long talked about. They've got a lot of players there, but for the moment, none of them have particularly impressed. They just need another. We saw it during MLS's back. They didn't really have anybody to turn to that can create an impact. They need someone to take the load off Pizarro. They probably, for the moment, I think in the long term, you do want to see Matias Pellegrini be your winger down that left-hand side, but that's probably an area where you can afford to improve. Maybe you can stick Pizarro out there and bring someone through the middle. There is definitely another attacking signing to make. It can be a winger, it can be a striker, it could be a number 10, but ultimately that is the area now. Now that you've addressed midfield with Blaise Matuidi, you have the opportunity to bring in a more attacking-minded player who can give you more.
What's realistic for Robbie? Because Miami will get Robbie back too now when they do return. But he's so young, Chris, and you know so much more than we do about this. I almost feel terrible in any sport. I don't care what sport I'm following. I almost feel terrible to put expectations on a kid that comes into a pro league. So what are realistic expectations? Because I got to say, I did like what I saw from the kid. I will say that.
For sure. Yeah, I think the work that he puts in is incredible for a player of his age and lack of professional experience, as you mentioned. Just the ability to press and win the ball when it doesn't look like that's on. I think Diego Alonso trusted him for that work ahead of Juan Agudelo. I think that's the reason why for the first 2 matches you have MLS experience in your team, but you play the college rookie because he's going to allow you to give you the most from the front from a defensive point of view. And then in that second game, you saw him really combining well with Pizarro and with Morgan against DC United. And I thought he was a real threat in the attack before he obviously got injured early in the second half. So I think from an expectation standpoint, I don't think you can say you need this player. Although in a normal season, you'd say you'd want your center forward to give you 15 goals. I don't think that Robbie Robinson could give you that. It's more about what kind of ability does he have to link and to be there for big chances and to put a few of them away when he does get into that area. Ultimately, if he's being trusted to start, when you get a chance, you have to put it away. And we saw in that first match against Orlando, Juan Agudelo had an absolute sitter that he missed, and then he put one away. So I think that's the kind of conversion rate that you're looking for, is to just be able to get into good areas and create chances and put away chances that are created. I can't set a definitive limit just because it's also hard now to even know what the standard would be. I'd probably say you want him to score 5 or 6 goals in a 23-game season. That would be a reasonable expectation. But, I mean, as you said, this is a player that has such limited experience. You're going to have to, if he becomes a regular starter, even with all the options available, kind of take some lumps with him and understand that not every performance is going to be an 8 out of 10.
I'm with you there. And you and I work for the club, but we still don't know what's going on behind the scenes. What's your gut tell you? They get that other player before the season restart?
I think it'll be pretty hard, particularly if it's from abroad, which you'd have to think that it would be. I mean, unless you're looking towards a domestic option where someone can come in and not have to deal with the travel restrictions, ultimately, who knows if people can get on a plane here, if they'd have to quarantine upon arrival. We're less than 2 weeks away from the return of the season. I think it would be pretty ambitious to say. And the one thing that I think we can also say here is that, obviously other people have talked about, well, maybe Matuidi is not a big enough name and that he doesn't have that celebrity. What we've seen is that the big names that have been linked with this club, Willian and Edinson Cavani recently, have asked for crazy money. Yeah. Edinson Cavani was reportedly asking for $12 million a year from Inter Miami. I don't believe an MLS player is currently paid more than $8 million. If it is, it's Chicharito, and that's a very particular marketing thing. Willian was reportedly asking as well, the Chelsea winger, now former Chelsea winger, was asking reportedly to be the highest paid player in the league. These big stars are looking towards MLS as an ATM, and I think that the ownership group has every right to say, we're not your ATM, and we want to put together a good deal for us as well as a good deal for you. So I do understand that trepidation, but I think they're finding it difficult right now in the world market to pick up a good and reasonably priced option.
Good stuff as always, Whitty. I appreciate you taking some time, man, to break it down for us, because this is one player that obviously most of us don't know, but I knew you'd have all the insight, man. Great stuff as always, my brother. You're the best.
Appreciate it, Big O.
You got it, baby. There you go. The great Chris Whittingham, and of course you can catch him narrating all of our games. He is the voice, the radio voice of Inter Miami CF Football. So make sure you catch it. Download the Inter Miami app, and you'll be able to listen to all of the shows, or all of the games. Shows to come, too, by the way. That'll be something else that we will be surprising you soon with. A whole bunch of good stuff. Anyway, appreciate Whitty joining us. If you want to get in, it's really simple, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program. Many things to talk about here on the show. Wow, this has just been one of those days. So we've got that going on with Inter Miami, which is absolutely awesome news. Let me switch gears. Let me talk a little music here. Since we went off of soccer, let's go from football to a little rock and roll. Did you see what Metallica is doing? I know it's Metallica Monday.
Other than the show tonight, no.
But they are doing a show.
But that's standard.
No.
They pick a concert. They pick great concerts and put it out there. Man, wow.
Well, but get ready for a live concert. Metallica has lined up a handful of major festival appearances that were only to be performances of 2020. All of the festival appearances ended up being canceled due to ongoing core nights at drive-ins across the country. On August 29th, the band will unveil a special performance all across the USA and Canada. According to the press release, the show will be shot specially for the Encore Drive-In Night series at a location near the band's Northern California headquarters, and will subsequently be edited and mixed by Metallica's award-winning production team to the highest standards possible. The concert, the band's first show in nearly a year, will feature material from throughout their near 4-decade career and provide Metallica fans with an intimate, unique, and truly memorable concert experience. Tickets are on sale this Friday, pre-sales starting this Wednesday. All Ticketmaster outlets will have them. Tickets at $115 per vehicle, up to 6 people allowed in each vehicle. They have a lot of U.S. and Canada covered, as evidenced by the map below, which is an amazing, these are all the drive-ins that'll be carrying it. Okay? You think they got enough? I mean, that's a lot of spots.
That's thorough.
Yes. Now, I love Metallica. Can I tell you why I won't go to this? Because it's really not them live performing. It's a live show they have recorded and edited it down and all that stuff and cleaned it up. And it'll be fun, don't get me wrong, but $115 for, let's say, I really want maybe 3 or 4 people. I don't want 6 people in a damn car. Unless I've got like a ginormous Escalade or some crap like that, then fine. If I've got Sylvester Stallone's truck that he's selling for $350,000, then maybe I'll take 6. But I want to be comfortable for the concert. And I'm watching, and you will have them here, okay? I just want you to know. For us, it's Shenobi's Redlands Winery and Brewery in Homestead is where you can watch it. And the other part in South Florida is not in South Florida. It's in the Treasure Coast. It's in Fort Pierce. So Homestead to Fort Pierce, if you're in the middle, dude, you gotta drive a distance either way, bro.
If I had to venture a guess,
like if you're in Broward, you're screwed, bro.
Fort Pierce is like 2 little over.
Okay, so
from us.
So like if you're in Northern Broward, you're still far away from
It's an
Fort
hour
Pierce,
and whatever each way.
and then you got to go to Homestead. I mean, God bless, dude.
You know what you do? You know what you do? Because
There's Naples, by the way. There's Pensacola. There's Claremont, Florida. There's Mount Dora. There's St. Augustine, Deltona, and Ocala. Okay? Those will all be showing it in Florida. There's 2 in Georgia. I mean, there's all over. Okay? Depends on what state you're at. You'll have a drive-in somewhere.
I hate to say this, but you know what you do. You wait till there's a couple, and then it'll be pirated, and you'll be able to sit and enjoy it at the comforts of your own home.
Yeah, it'll be YouTube down the line in a year or 2. I can't go to that concert. I won't go to that concert. I love Metallica.
Can you imagine Metallica fans staying in their car? That's another problem I have.
You're not.
There is no way.
No way. They'll be mosh pitting.
Thank you.
They're going to create a mosh pit somewhere, dude. And then security's going to have to break it up. And not that I'm going to be in the mosh pit. I'll be laughing at the idiots in the mosh pit. But I just saw that and was like, okay. It's a cool idea. Don't get me wrong. Cool idea. But I don't know. How many of you now, those of you that are on a chat board, if you're a Metallica fan, you got to be a Metallica fan. If you're not a Metallica fan, you can't do it. You're never going to do it. But would you do it? Would you pay $115 to go see a recorded concert in a drive-in? Okay, so 4 of you go. So each of you are gonna spend 50 whatever, 54 something, $54.25. Okay?
You know what we got to factor in here, straight up, is the fact that there's nothing to do. So this is an opportunity to have something to go do and be around other music, and just go, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to a concert.
No.
Who could say that?
Can't argue that.
And that's the thing.
If you're
We're all itching to do something.
Now, if you're a Metallica fanatic, you will definitely go to this.
Oh, without a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll be the first idiot that opens your car door and runs to the stage that isn't really a stage because they're not there. But
well, they have VIP too to sell the first couple rows. That's a little bit more money.
of course.
You know.
Hey, you're going to see that. There is no more. Everybody's ticket is $15. Those days are gone.
Raging Dolphin Maniac says, I wouldn't pay to see a pay-per-view at a drive-in. No way. A lot of cars shaking up and down. LOL. I wouldn't wait. I would wait and see it at home and crank up the sound bar. I'm with you. It will be streamed live online by some hacker kid for free. That's actually true. Like on Periscope or something. Somebody's going to put it on. You're right about that. Yeah. And here's the other thing. I'll give you something else that we got to think about. Bill, do you think all these drive-ins are loaded with the proper audio to carry a metal concert, not a movie?
Oh, I'm willing to bet a negative.
You know what I mean?
A monster negative.
Yeah, I need that to sound good, man. I mean, if I'm gonna pay
You know what
that
they
money-
may do? Have one of those bands where you tune into such and such station and it goes through your car system.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
You know?
Yes. That's probably
That would be the only real way to do it justice.
yeah. That's probably the way it's gonna be.
It's got to be.
It's got to be. Yeah, no, you're right.
Because I'm thinking
No,
old
you're
school back in the day, that little box
It has to be that way.
hanging.
Yeah, no, I was thinking actually little speakers that was blaring it out. No. That would be terrible. No, I was thinking of like
Got to get
legit-
closer to the box.
I was thinking
the
of
cord's
legit
not long enough.
concert speakers for that. But I think the way you're saying it is right. So you got to make sure whoever you go with, their car actually has a good stereo. That's for sure. That's a no, Big O. Jesse in Minneapolis says. Mike No Go Zone says, same here. It's a pre-recorded video. Exactly. I love Metallica, but hell's to the no. Gus 1388. Guillermo says, Big O, love Metallica. But that's a big no. Yeah. So a bunch of you feel like I do on it. I love the idea, but when I saw Metallica drive-in, I go, oh, I'm going to a drive-in. Finally, I'm going to go to a concert. And then I read it, and I'm like,
Well, see, when I saw
it was like Viagra hit, and then it just like went flaccid again.
When I saw the number of dots on that map, it like, man, they're even going more out than a regular tour.
That's a big world. That's a big United States
That's
tour.
why, here, this cut goes to this place and this place and this place, and we could be everywhere at one time.
No way. Can't do it. Won't do it. Can't do it. No freaking way. All right, some other stuff in music news. Our condolences. Rest in peace. One of the great, absolute great producers of all time, Martin Birch, passed away over the weekend at the age of 71. Birch, by the way, produced 9 consecutive albums for Iron Maiden before retiring. He did from Killers all the way through Fear of the Dark. Okay? He did the first 6 albums for Whitesnake. He worked with Deep Purple, Rainbow, and Black Sabbath. Okay? He did from 81 to 92 for Iron Maiden. He was at the helm for Black Sabbath's Ronnie James Dio fronted Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. You think this guy's good?
Awesome albums.
He engineered 5 early Fleetwood Mac albums and produced Rainbow's first 3 records. Okay? I mean, just, in other words, he is a absolute and total badass, Martin Birch. And we're talking about one of the great, great producers of all time. So our thoughts and prayers go with the Birch family, man. I saw that, and that's sad news. History today, on this date, back in 1984, the Red Hot Chili Peppers released their self-titled album, starting the run that they've had for a long, long time. What else do we have here? Here we go. Also in music history, couple birthdays. First of all, we start off in 1940. Bobby Hatfield, the singer for the Righteous Brothers, was born on this date back in 1940. Obviously, Unchained Melody, You've Lost That Love and Feeling, yada, yada, yada. We all know it. James Griffin was born on this date in 1943, guitarist and vocalist for Bread. Next up is 1947, Ian Anderson, the singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. Ian Anderson, best known for his work as lead vocalist for, of course, Jethro Tull. 1947, Ronnie Spector, singer for the Ronettes, was also born, Be My Baby, and married producer Phil Spector in 1968. Patty Austin, American R&B, pop, and jazz singer Patty Austin, had the 1983 #1 song in the U.S. with James Ingram, Baby, Come to Me. Let me put my arms around you. All right, I can't sing, but there you go. Let's see, 1961, John Farris. Bill will be happy about this. John Farris was the drummer for INXS. He loves INXS. Australian rock band, born in 1961 on this date. INXS, by the way, sold 55 million albums worldwide. And in 1968, Michael Bivins was born on this date. The singer, rapper, and manager, Michael Bivins, from the R&B group New Edition, and was also with Belle Biv DeVoe. Now you know. Can't trust a big butt and a smile. That's what they say, especially if it's a Kardashian. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Jesse in Minneapolis says 5+ million cases. Come on, people. I'm with you, man. 5 million plus. We're at 5.2, I think it is. Something like that. And it's going to climb and climb and climb until we actually get responsible. What can I tell you? Marlins. Let's talk a little baseball. Marlins. They lost to the Mets this weekend. They lost the series 2 out of 3, unfortunately. They won the first game on Friday, but then they lost on Saturday 8-4, and on Sunday 4-2. Friday they won 4-3. By the way, the scoop by Pablo Lopez was really sweet on I think it was Saturday when he did the scoop. They didn't win the game, but still. They're off today, Tuesday. Celine Field they'll be at Celine Field on Tuesday in Buffalo, New York, to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. So it'll be Hernandez against Jinryu, and we'll see what happens. 6:37 first pitch. So they'll be playing in the Bison's Field,
the least
in Buffalo.
Look forward to trip because you're in a minor league park. That was one of the things
in Buffalo.
That was one of the things that Toronto, they were trying to keep from having to be in a minor league park.
Yeah. Well, too bad. They're going to be in a minor league park whether they like it or not.
Have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And as the Mad Dog would say, the Miami Marlins, they're going to pull up to the hotel room and they're going to say, "Ma'am, please give me a room without a view." And that's it. That was the Mad Dog's line, the late, great Mad Dog. He would always say, "I'm going to Buffalo this weekend to take on the Bills, and I will tell the hotel, front desk, please give me a room without a view." Because, of course, Buffalo isn't. I've been to Buffalo a couple times. It is a dreary, ugly place. I will say that.
Pittsburgh or Buffalo?
Buffalo's the worst. Just like there. It's like, did I die? It's like one of those places. Like there's no views. There's nothing. It's just a dreary place. You know what I'm saying? I've been there twice, and it's like, let me go to Toronto. Let me just get in the car 45 minutes.
Sure, yeah.
Shoot over the border, go gamble, have some fun. That's what you do when you're in Buffalo. You just go to Toronto when you go to Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? I love this one. Oh, but at least this scam likely says North Miami.
So it's a local scam.
Yeah, it's a local scam going on. I love that. All right, 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. PGA Championship, Colin Morikawa ended up winning the PGA Championship, the 23-year-old. So this is what I want to know now, since, he won now. So are the golf heads now going to tell us about how he's the next greatest one? Like he's the next Tiger, right? Because since Tiger, all we're doing is trying to find a guy, right? The next guy. Oh, no, it's Jason Day. No, it's Koepka. No, it's this guy. No, it's that guy. It all started, what's the name of the dude that had the black glasses, always had the black pants on, and had like a dirty blonde hair? David Duval? Was it Duval was the name of the kid?
It might have been David Duval. There definitely was a David Duval. Yes.
Like 10 years ago, right? Like
that
Duval
sounds
was
about right. Yeah.
Right? That was the name of the young guy. Like he's off the, like you don't even hear from him anymore, right? I think it was Duval was his name. It started with him. And then they've gone on with all these other names. The kid that wears his hat sideways, what's his name? That always wears the funky hats. That he's a nice kid, but he's not Tiger, bro. He's not Jack. He's not any of those guys. He's not Player. He's not any of none of them. None of these young guys have turned out to be anything that they've talked about. And it's every time one of these guys win, I always have to hear Andy, whatever the hell his name is. And
that'd be Andy North.
Andy North, and then all the other guys, and oh no, this kid is going to be a great one, and this and that. And it's like, oh, please, bro. Please, it's 10 years of this. Stop already. Phil was the last guy that we could hype up to play with Tiger. Because Mickelson, lefty was legit. Is legit. But all these other guys, come on, man. Every time. It's like the new guy wins, and all of a sudden, boom. We got to name him the champion. It's crazy. All right. Remember we talked about this last week, and I think we talked about it maybe on Thursday. Did you guys see that the girl in Georgia that put out the picture, remember, of all the kids in the hallway, and none of them were wearing masks and all that stuff? Remember that picture, right? And she ended up getting in trouble. And she got suspended and everything. So 2 of the 3 things that she was accused of were wrong, right? Because she tweeted it after school, and she was using her phone after school. The only thing that was wrong was that she tweeted kids. She can't post kids on social media and without permission. And so that was wrong. But they ended up pulling back from the suspension. It was a 5-day suspension, which, again, I did some stuff that was way worse than that, and I never got 5 days. But whatever. So, yes, I did get suspended from school a couple times. Anyway, so I like to screw around a lot. It wasn't anything delinquent or anything like that. I was a joker. I was New Bomb Turk. Like, that's what me and Bill were. We were like New Bomb Turk. Just one of those deals. So they end up rescinding the suspension, right? And now it was reported over the weekend 9 people have tested positive, which there's going to be more, okay? The school has now been shut down. It's going to be cleaned, and everybody's going to be online now for the time being. That young lady needs to be heralded as a hero. She needs to be commended. She needs to be set as an example of what we need to do in this country right now. Dude, it's not about being a stool pigeon. It's not about being a rat. It's not about any of that right now. Lives are on the line. And if she doesn't have the balls to take that picture and post it, they continue going to that school, and instead of 9, it's a hell of a lot more, because it's going to be more. Those 9 people they were with other people, and it spread. I guarantee you that it went to other people. But if it would have kept going, it would have spread like wildfire. She might have saved the teacher's life. She might have saved an administrator's life. She might have saved a cafeteria worker's life. That's the way this young lady needs to be looked at. That's the way she should be held, in that kind of distinction, because she's a hero, man. And I'm proud of her that she did that, because I'm happy for her. I'm happy that she got cleared of it. And also, I'm hoping that she inspires others to go out there and do the right thing. You're not ratting on anybody. You're saving lives, is what you're doing. And you might be saving, somebody's grandmother or grandfather, somebody's father or mother might be around for another year, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 7, because you made that call, because they didn't pick up Corona. So congratulations to that young lady. She is an absolute hero here in this country. Okay? Good stuff by her. Ray Grulong, thank you, sir. A little super chat. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you. Ray says, great show. Orange Head Prez just tweeted that he hopes there's a college season. Wow. I mean, you can't help the brother, and that's what he influences. And then you've got a whole bunch of other people that, because they think he knows what he's talking about. And so then they follow a guy that's absolutely freaking clueless. The guy that says, hey, well, you can't drink a disinfectant? Yeah, that guy. She's receiving threats on her life, Big O. What a great country we live in. Shaking my head. Yeah, exactly. Because you got the idiots like, Mr. Orange. And they just set everybody up for failure. Big O finally got a full-time job, 3rd shift security at a condo, worked 3 days, thought I was done with hiring process. So when I was working, I really wasn't an employee. Finished all good now. All right, Richard. Well, as long as you're good, my brother, and you got some work, that's really important in today's world, man, if you're able to hang in there. Pat in Nashville says, Midnight Oil released her first single almost 20 years. Gotta Go Land, mini album coming soon. Okay. John Rouse says, Metallica drive-in tour, don't have to get out of your car, curbside service. That's right. Ian from Brooklyn says, put it to my nosy, it don't smell so rosy. I like a little Mad Dog line. Let's see. The only Sabbath record I really love is Ronnie James Dio. Oh, well, those 2 albums, Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules, are masterpieces. Those 2 albums can roll the entire album. I can just listen to the entire album of both, right?
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Those are so good. So good, man. Those are the kind of albums.
And pretty cool album covers.
Yeah, no, great album covers. But the lyrics, the music, it was just magic, those 2 albums, because it was a crossroad at that moment for both the band and for Ozzy. And both came out like gangbusters, dude. Like
Blizzard of Oz and
Diary of a Madman. Diary of a Madman was amazing, too. To come
that
out,
was second. I'm like right out the blocks.
Yeah.
Because I remember that summer when Ozzy left, because that had become, it was Kiss, Van Halen, Black Sabbath.
Right.
And to hear that Ozzy had left, man, I was crushed, destroyed, but then to see what
we ended up winning.
Sabbath, yeah. Oh, exactly.
We ended up winning because we ended up getting 2 great bands out of it.
Incredible.
And we got to get to know for a short time Randy Rhoads, So yeah, and then Sabbath actually they don't get enough credit with the album they did with Ian Gillan, Born Again, which was a really good album. And that's the other. Tony did a really nice job with multiple singers. It's kind of like Rainbow, and Richie Blackmore had 3 different singers, and he had success with all 3 of them.
We saw that tour.
Yes.
When you put Ian Gillan in front of Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, and Tony Iommi,
it was amazing.
When he did Smoke on the Water,
yeah,
man, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. We saw that one at Sunrise.
Night Ranger opening up.
Night Ranger, that's right.
Right before Ozzy grabs Brad Gillis to do the Speak of the Devil.
Speak of the Devil, that's it.
So that he could, because he had gotten word that Black Sabbath was going to come out with Live Evil.
Live Evil.
And he wanted to head him off at the pass.
Yeah.
So
again, and we win.
They both were great, yeah.
Yeah. Ozzy's had some of the best guitarists of all time, man. So it was a fork in the road for us, but it ended up becoming a smorgasbord. So it was good. Let's see. The word is full of kings and queens who blind your eyes and steal your dreams. 100% true. There you go, Raging Dolphin Maniac. Nice job by you, my brother. Coming up with that line. I love it. That's fantastic. Dolphins, by the way, signed Charlie Rogers, veteran wide receiver, 5-year veteran. They also signed Ricardo Lewis. Those are like veteran presence that they brought in, because some of you out there were talking about Antonio Brown. I told you guys they're not going to sign a clown like that. They're not bringing that into their locker room. Okay, so the coach changed the culture in a year. Do you think he wants to destroy it in a week? No. No. No, Coach Flores has kind of been working on this whole culture thing and getting everybody on the same page and working hard and sacrificing and everything you got to do. And all of a sudden you're going to bring Antonio Brown on your team. I mean, come on. They will listen to you a little bit. They will patronize you, but they're not going to respect you.
Hey, get your likeness. You go make the money.
Right.
But you're not digging into my coffer. That's my money, guy.
Amen. A freaking men. That's what's going to happen. Guys, no, you go ahead and make your own money. No, you're good. You're not touching ours. You're not touching ours. We're not unionizing you. You're a bunch of kids. We're not going to sit here and listen to you, or we're not going to allow lawyers who will then be working in cahoots with agents to try to then, find rights for players and then also find a way out so they can go to the NFL. Screw you. We're not doing that. Again, some people live in reality, and then there are other people out there that just want to live in fantasy land. And if you think that you're going to be able to get away with that as college football players, you're living in fantasy land. Okay? You got no shot. So, Dolphins signed Chester Rogers and Ricardo Lewis, just experienced guys that the young guys can kind of lean on, ask questions about the league, that kind of stuff. I think that's all they did. Now, I don't think Ricardo Lewis makes the team. Chester Rogers, maybe he makes the team, I think, just out of, a guy that can help you out, a little return, a little catching receiver, a little experience, that kind of stuff. I can see that, but not much more. Don't look into this. It's no more than a sounding board for these young guys. That's basically what you're getting there. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. UFC fighter Derek Lewis. He had a very interesting fight over the weekend. First up, in Aleksei Oleinik, in the second round of his main event, when the post-fight interview with Paul Felder began, Lewis apparently didn't realize that he was live because he turned to someone off camera and revealed he had some junk in the trunk. So he said he had to take a dump. And then the interview began. And this is what happened.
He throws his punches. It's insane. I think he just took his pants off in the octagon. That's a new one for me. Look at that. I don't know why he did that, but he did do it.
I'm here with the winner, Derek Lewis. Derek, why'd you take your pants off? My balls was hot. I understand.
This man says he has to take a dump. We didn't get the audio on that. And then he also says, my balls were hot. This guy, I'm sad he's 35. I wish he was 25 so I can watch all his fights from here on out. I mean, I look forward more to the post-fight than the fight itself. I mean, the man, you got to watch the video. He literally takes his pants off. He's in his underwears. And you're like wondering, is he going crazy at this moment? What happened? Did he get hit too much? Whatever. And then you took your pants off. What happened? My balls were hot. Play it again. Come on. One more time.
He throws his punches. It's insane. I think he just took his pants off in the octagon. That's a new one for me. Look at that. I don't know why he did that, but he did do it.
I'm here with the winner, Derek Lewis. Derek, why'd you take your pants off? My balls was hot. I understand.
Don't beat around the bush.
All right, bro. Hey.
Does somebody have an ice pack? My balls are hot.
Let me turn on the fan under my desk. My balls are hot. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in. My balls are hot. That's just awesome right there. I mean, that's a drop for the show. You got just my balls are hot.
He's got hot nuts.
I got to take a break. Why? My balls are hot. That's it. So there you go. Now, you know how normally I walk away and most of you think I'm dropping a deuce, right? Like what he said on camera, which I wish we had that drop. I wish you could, if you could find that one, Bill, from somewhere, man, bring it tomorrow to the show. Derek Lewis, I got to hear him saying I have to take a dump. Hear the whole thing. It would be fantastic. I got to take a dump and my balls are hot. That, my friends, is must-see TV right there. Wow. That is awesome. All right, 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. That's 786-322-1105. By the way, do you realize that the Oakland A's have won 9 in a row?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Like they won't win Jack in the postseason because that's what they do. They shock you in the regular season. They sneak into the playoffs, and they never really have enough to actually get it done. But in a 60-game schedule, when you start off 12-4, dude, you are setting you're already making the playoffs.
I didn't realize it was that many, but I'm sitting there, obviously watching the Yankees game and my dad, and I'm like, man, the A's win every day. And yesterday I had 9 in a row. Yeah.
Going for 10 today.
Smacking around the Astros.
9:40 today, Sean Manaea and Julio Teheran. Okay? They've got a 5-game lead in their division.
Yes. Yeah, man. The Astros
There are some divisions where the last place team is 5 games out.
Here, the American League East, I could tell you, the Yankees are up. Both Baltimore and Tampa are tied 2 games back. And Toronto and the Red Sox are out like 3.5.
Yeah, but
everybody's in.
It's like your second place team is 5 games on in that division.
Already.
You start 12-4, you have set yourself up already, dude.
Pretty much.
All you got to do is go 500 the rest of the way and you're fine.
Exactly.
You're done. And they can do that. Now, again, they'll do all this amazing stuff, and then we'll get to the postseason, and because they don't spend, they won't have enough to get over the hump. And your team. They won't be able to get past your Yankees.
If they go 500 from here, they end up what, 36-24?
Yeah, because the Marlins have done themselves a huge favor the way they started, obviously, but the A's they've taken it to another level, bro. It could be 10 in a row today.
Yeah. But the A's are one of those teams that they never go more than a couple of years without being competitive.
Oh, no, yeah. No, they got a good GM.
Them and Tampa, man,
yeah.
They probably get the most out of their teams, wring out the rag, get every drop every year.
Okay, now,
They are good.
Now, you said that, right? And it's 1,000% right. But Moneyball has never succeeded until Theo said, I'm going to do that Moneyball thing, but I'm going to add money to it, actually. And then they...
Well, look, bottom line.
They kicked ass.
Bottom line, we see it.
And he went to Chicago.
The formula, you win in the postseason with pitching. And you usually have the 1-2 beast.
Well, that's normal.
And
but their system of finding guys with the certain requirements of their hitting and their walk rate and all that other stuff.
Yes.
What I'm saying is it clearly works, but it only works to a certain extent because in baseball, you got to buy talent.
It works for 162 in getting you in.
That's it.
But once you get to the playoffs,
It's
where
over.
the cream rises to the top,
you don't have enough.
You
talent.
don't have the arms. Bottom line,
Yeah.
You haven't spent the money to have the arms to get you through.
Right. Unless you
have some incredible,
unless you recruit them all, that you
have a
drafted
youngster
them all.
that comes up like the
you have
Marlins
3
did.
of them, like the youngsters did, like Beckett, Burnett, Penny. You had 3 guys. I know Burnett got injured that year, but they still had Beckett and Penny.
Back in the day, the Braves.
Yeah, well,
when they had Avery, Glavine, and Smoltz.
Right,
And
then
obviously
they
when they
brought Maddox.
brought in Maddox.
Yeah, because Avery was really a 4. He wasn't really a 3.
Well, but
he was a nice pitcher.
But he when they faced off 91 against Minnesota, he was one of those guys.
Yeah, no, I know. But
then he fell by the wayside.
Yeah, he wasn't those guys. That's what I'm saying. That's why he was a 4. So I'm saying they had to acquire him because they realized that he was nice, but
Or
he
one
was
short, yeah.
he was really a 4 or 5 guy.
And all
He's
these just
not
went
your-
out and got the best pitcher at the time.
They
right?
got an ace.
The best pitcher in baseball for the time was without the way Maddox would paint the corners, man, both sides, man. It
He's
was
more
sick.
And in hindsight, Maddox became even more impressive when you realize he did it in the steroid era.
You know what? I
That's
never
where-
actually thought about that.
That's where
And
I've said that many times over the years.
That accountant-looking dude was one hell of a pitcher. Because if you ever saw him after a game, tell me that guy didn't look like an accountant. Man.
No, yeah. The guy never looked like he was, yeah. And on the mound, he was, I mean, I stood next to the guy. I was bigger than the guy.
I remember
I looked at him as like, wow, this is Greg Maddox.
I remember the first year when he came over and we were watching a game between them and the Reds. And Maddox stole second. And you want to talk about getting chewed out in the dugout like, hey, we didn't bring you here to steal bases, bro.
not.
What are
Course
you
not.
thinking, man?
Julius 305 is chiming in with a little super chat. Thank you, Julius. He says TJ Bubble Warren versus Jimmy Neutron Butler tonight. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Only problem is Jimmy can't keep up with TJ in the score if TJ is going to score like that. Because TJ is on one hell of a roll, and that's not his game. NorCal says Oakland has one of the best scouting departments in baseball. If they paid to keep their talent, they'd win more, but they go broke, LOL. Well, yeah, but NorCal, you would figure that if you kept some of your talent, you would, like, sell out the stadium then. Because if you got great baseball people, then you sell out the stadium and you can make your money back. Because everybody loves a winner and everybody will get on the bandwagon of a winner. But it's weird, man, because the Moneyball thing works, but you got to add money to it. That's the problem with Moneyball. That's the defect of Moneyball.
Well,
you got to add money to it. Where's the Moneyball? You know,
it works for the regular season to get you in.
No, it works when you add
162.
money. Is my point.
Well, that puts you over the top.
That's my point. That it works, but you got to put money to it to really win what you're supposed to win.
Well, they're about
because think about it. The A's do such a phenomenal job that you keep teasing your fans.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you hear, look at what NorCal says.
You get like Dolphin fans used to be where we're in the playoffs every year, but we don't go anywhere. We got, remember?
No, but it sounds like Marlins fans because he goes, Oakland has one of the best scouting departments in baseball. If they paid to keep their talent, they'd win more. That's the Marlins. Marlins don't, for years, they don't pay their guys, and we end up losing all our guys.
Yeah, but we don't make the playoffs.
And there's because you don't end up keeping them. You know, as you develop
but the A's make the playoffs. Well, they do.
Well, they're better than we are in the front office. Remember, we had Loria.
Exactly.
So it's different. Loria is just a cancer.
The A's are like, we're willing to go this far, but these are our spinning parameters, and we're not going to go outside of that. We're not going to go over.
And
we're here.
And
it gets you in. You're competitive.
And
but
it's pure baseball decisions what's going on there.
Totally.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But the problem is, again, they got to add money to it, man. They got to add money to it, and if they don't, then that you'll keep teasing your fans. Sucks. McIntyre says, D. Snyder says, new AC/DC album is in the can, done, and technology adding. Malcolm, he said it's jaw-dropping. Yes, I read that a couple weeks ago from him about that. I'm looking forward to the new AC/DC album and then eventually a tour, and I will definitely be there. I'm with you. Hannah Waters is an American patriot. Yes, she is. What do we have? Big O, I agree. It's just weird that they never keep the talent around. Because you know the A's are making a good profit because they don't spend enough. So their TV money, that must be putting them way over the top. So, but here's my problem. How do you not have confidence in what you're doing? You know what you're doing. You know your baseball. So keep your guys, and then all of a sudden you'll develop, one hell of a team, and your stadium will be jam-packed. People will be buying A's jerseys all over the country. The A's will become a cooler team as you continue to win, but you're not going to get the bandwagon fans without serious winning. I don't know why they don't spend money,
Well, remember Bud Selig when he was the commissioner and owned the Milwaukee Brewers, right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't spend because they were making money because of the TV contract.
Right. Yeah.
The A's have a formula. They're going to spend X amount of dollars. They're not going to spend any more.
Miami was doing that too under Loria.
Yeah.
They never spent. They were making
and pocketing
boatload of money.
Exactly.
Boatload of money.
And the A's, it's just that they're going to spend. They're going to spend to here, and that's it. We're going to use this formula. It'll make us competitive. But like we've said, you get into the playoffs, man, dude, you got to bring some arms. You got to have some starting pitching. If you don't have some starting pitch, if you don't have a 1-2 starting pitching, nasty, you're not going to win. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there, man. Let's give our super chatters a little love here before we go. Kenneth in Cleveland, Dougie Fresh, Hank Goldberg's left nut, Cookie Vice, Ray Grulong, Julius 305. Thank you. Appreciate all of you out there, as always, tuning in and giving us some love and supporting us, whether you're watching, whether you're downloading the show any time of the day or night. Always love how all of you support us and our sponsors, our amazing sponsors. Make sure you visit our sponsors and tell them that you heard it here on our show. As always, on behalf of Bill and Philippe, always 30th, 2020. Now that's live. That I may watch. That might be one that I could enjoy right there. Little Joe Bonamassa action too. Get that guitar jamming. Anyway, thank you, Jay, for the information. Appreciate that. We will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel. Much love out there. Hang in there. Be safe. Wear your mask.
Till tomorrow.